Chapter 906. No, how would I dare? I really have something urgent to do. Xiao Chen's eyes darted around as he tried his best to escape from Xing's grasp. Xing became even more suspicious when she saw Xiao Yi like this. She interrupted him before he could finish. Did you sleep with her? Don't play dumb with me. I'm not someone to be trifled with. Little Miss Xing grabbed Xiao Chen's collar and pulled him in front of her as she spoke fiercely. Pfft, cough cough cough. Xiao Chen choked and didn't recover for a long time. He didn't think that young Master Ladyboy would be so bold to ask such a question. Hurry up and say it. Otherwise, I won't be polite. Xing's face was filled with anger. She activated her technique and displayed the strength of a 10th level Devil King, releasing a huge pressure on Xiao Chen. Ah! Don't kill me. Xiao Chen was so scared that his legs went soft and his face turned pale. He sat on the ground with a plop and said weakly, I didn't know your girlfriend was a virgin. I thought you two had already done it. I was just playing around. Who knew? You had mercy. Don't hit me. I really didn't do it on purpose. Xing was stunned when she saw Xiao Chen's cowardly appearance. This wasn't Xiao Chen's personality at all. If the person in front of her was Xiao Chen, he probably wouldn't be afraid after sleeping with young Master Xing's girlfriend. Instead, he would turn around and ask her for compensation for the loss of his youth and health. How could he be so cowardly? Could it be that I really misjudged him? This guy really isn't Xiao Chen. Then why did this kid ask for a tuition fee during dinner last night? Could it be that alcohol makes a coward brave? Is it because he drank alcohol that he became more courageous? Yes. That should be the case. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense. This isn't over. Just you wait, don't think that I'll let this go. Thinking of this, Xing Chick snorted and stopped looking for Ling Qianxue. She let go of Xiao Chen and turned to leave. Miss Xing began to feel that her strategy was wrong. It seemed that these two people really weren't Xiao Chen and Cheng Menjing. But no matter how she thought about it, she couldn't figure out where the problem was. Now she could only go back and look through Xiao Chen's information again to see if she had missed any key points. Xiao Chen stood up and patted off the dust on his clothes. A cold smile flashed across his face as he watched Chick Xing walk further and further away before disappearing at the corner of the street. This vague feeling was exactly what he wanted. Xiao Chen had already planned to let Ling Qianxue go back and say that she suspected Xiao Chen was still Xiao Yi. In this way, that ladyboy would probably be in a complete mess, ha ha ha. After buying breakfast, Xiao Chen returned to the hotel room. With Cheng Menjing's help, Ling Qianxue gradually let go of the burden in her heart and agreed to help Xiao Chen hide his identity. But because of her loyalty to the Sakura group and the fear of betrayal, Ling Qianxue temporarily couldn't leave the Sakura group. Xiao Chen didn't care about this. Anyway, he had already achieved his goal. As long as Ling Qianxue could confuse Miss Xing, it was fine. As for the Sakura group and Yorishima Kikuo, Xiao Chen didn't care about them at all. With his current strength, it was a piece of cake for him to destroy them. The knot in the three's heart was untied and they finally relaxed. After eating breakfast, they split up and left the hotel. Xiao Chen and Cheng Menjing went to school. Ling Qianxue first went to find Miss Xing to explain the situation before deciding on the next step. Lancheng University, Martial Arts Club. As the club president, Dong Zhiqi, was seriously injured and was still recuperating in bed, the daily chores were all handled by Wang Zhengtian. Although he didn't like to do these trivial things, since he had the title of vice president, he couldn't just push all the responsibility to the club members. He had to do everything himself. Bang! With a loud bang, the door of the martial arts club was kicked open. Wang Zhengtian was originally lowering his head to draw a form. When he heard the loud bang, he immediately frowned and looked in the direction of the door. Who's in charge of this broken place? Is there anyone alive? If there is, come out quickly. Come and welcome your father's arrival. After the dust settled, Du Rongwei swaggered in. He glanced at the empty martial arts club and shouted with a face full of disdain. What are you shouting for? Who do you think you are? You came to the martial arts club to show off. Do you want to die? Wang Zhengtian put down the pen in his hand and walked out of the room unhappily. Oh, you've got guts, kid. How dare you be angry at our boss? Biaozi, who was next to Du Rongwei, suddenly jumped up. He rolled up his sleeves and wanted to rush over to teach Wang Zhengtian a lesson, but was stopped by Du Rongwei. Du Rongwei cleared his throat, crossed his arms in front of his chest, nodded his head and said proudly, I'm Du Rongwei, the president of the karate club. I heard that there's a guy named Wang Zhengtian in your martial arts club who seems to be very good at fighting. I just want to fight with him. Do you know where he is? Call him out. After the special training of the middle-aged ninja in the karate club, Du Rongwei's karate skills had a substantial breakthrough. Du Rongwei was ecstatic. As soon as he returned to the university, he began to challenge other martial arts clubs one by one. He just wanted to verify his strength and see if the expensive tuition was in vain. After defeating the presidents of other major clubs, Du Rongwei finally believed that the middle-aged ninja said that he had finished his apprenticeship, and his self-confidence was extremely inflated. He walked around the university arrogantly every day. Originally, Du Rongwei planned to go to the karate club today to pay off the remaining money. But when he was about to go out, he heard from Biaozi that there was a guy named Wang Zhengtian in the martial arts club, who beat up the taekwondo club that came to find trouble. Du Rongwei's hands were itching again. He also knew the existence of this martial arts club, but he had always been dismissive of it. Because Dong Zhiqi had been defeated by him before, and this guy couldn't even beat the president of the taekwondo club, so he never took the martial arts club seriously, and didn't take it into account when he challenged other clubs. But the appearance of Wang Zhengtian made Du Rongwei a little interested. He now felt that he was invincible. Hearing Biaozi's words, he felt that Wang Zhengtian should have some ability. If he could defeat him, then the status of the karate club in the university would rise to an unprecedented height in the future. He would be invincible in the world. Therefore, Du Rongwei waved his hand and swaggered to the martial arts club with Biaozi to provoke them. Karate club? Wang Zhengtian picked up the form in his hand and glanced at it. Then he picked up a black carbon pen and crossed out the karate club column. Then he looked at Du Rongwei coldly and said, You came at the right time, and saved me a lot of time. Don't talk nonsense, hurry up and make your move. Huh? You are Wang Zhengtian? Du Rongwei was stunned, looked up and down at Wang Zhengtian, and asked doubtfully. Of course. Do you still want to fight? If you don't fight, your karate club will admit defeat. Wang Zhengtian stared at Du Rongwei as if he was looking at an idiot, and his face was full of impatience. Was this guy stupid? Humph. Damn you. Du Rongwei had never suffered this kind of humiliation since he defeated all the clubs. With a cold snort, he kicked off with his left leg and rushed toward Wang Zhengtian. He threw a punch at Wang Zhengtian's face. Too weak. Wang Zhengtian raised his hand and patted his mouth. He yawned, as if he didn't feel the fist wind, and stood still, letting Du Rongwei's fist hit his face. Crack. Only a crisp sound of bones breaking could be heard. Wang Zhengtian was still standing, and Du Rongwei's arm softened like a noodle. Ah, it hurts. Du Rongwei's grin suddenly turned into a painful scream, and he knelt on the ground. Du Rongwei couldn't figure out why his opponent didn't move, and his fist didn't hurt him at all. Instead, the bones in his hand were broken. Oh, you finished? Now it's my turn, right? Wang Zhengtian looked down and laughed in disdain. He lifted his leg and kicked Du Rongwei's stomach. Ouch! Du Rongwei had no strength to resist. He flew out of the martial arts club, and fell heavily on the ground outside. He spat out a mouthful of blood, and then passed out. "You, how dare you? How dare you hit Master Wei?" Biaozi, who was dumbfounded, saw Wang Jingtian coming toward him. He was shocked and bluffed, but he didn't dare to fight with him, so he could only step back. Until he retreated to Du Rongwei's side, Biaozi reached out his hand to check his breath, and found that he was still breathing. Then he was relieved. Otherwise, if Du Rongwei came out with him and died, he would be blamed. "Loser, I won't dirty my hands if I hit you. Get out of here." Wang Jingtian looked at Biaozi coldly. The strength of the previous kick was measured, and he deliberately kicked Du Rongwei's fleshy belly, so Du Rongwei would not be hurt at all. You wait for me. The Du family will never let you go," Biaozi said boldly, and then quickly carried the unconscious Du Rongwei on his back, and ran to the school infirmary. Bang! Wang Jingtian sneered. He was too lazy to care about this meaningless threat, and directly closed the door of the martial arts club. After stumbling to send Du Rongwei to the school infirmary, Biaozi collapsed on the ground, gasping for breath. The medical staff had been treating this kind of injured person for the past few days, and they were already used to it. Seeing the person being sent over, they directly carried him into the infirmary. After the medical staff's treatment, Du Rongwei finally woke up. There was good news and bad news waiting for him. The good news was that the injury on his stomach was not serious, and he would recover in 2 days. The bad news was that his right hand, which was injured by the reaction force, suffered a comminuted fracture, and the situation was more serious. Chapter 907. The medical staff carefully fixed Du Rongwei's right hand with a cast, and then told him to pay attention to protect it and not let the bone dislocate again. Even if he took good care of it, it would take nearly a year for his right hand to recover to its original state. Du Rongwei was very annoyed, and he couldn't vent his anger. He didn't dare to go back and find fault with Wang Jingtian. After thinking about it, he put all the blame on the Extreme Karate Club. He felt that the middle-aged ninja didn't teach him well, so he was defeated by Wang Jingtian. Du Rongwei, who was depressed, went out of the infirmary and was supported by Biaozi to go to the Extreme Karate Club. He was going to settle the score with the red-haired guy. The red-haired guy was chatting with 2 ninjas in the office. Recently, their business was getting better and better, and they were talking about opening a branch. As soon as he turned his head, he saw Du Rongwei and Biaozi coming in. This was their financial backer. The red-haired guy quickly stood up and said, "Isn't this Master Wei? What the F***ck? How did you get hurt so badly?" The red-haired guy was shocked when he saw Du Rongwei was supported by Biaozi, and his hand was still wrapped with a white cloth. Humph. Du Rongwei snorted and sat down on the sofa. He wanted to take out the cigarette, but found that his hand was inconvenient. Fortunately, Biaozi had good eyesight and quickly helped him light a cigarette. After a few puffs, Du Rongwei threw away the cigarette butt, pointed at the middle-aged ninja, and said coldly, "Red-haired guy, you said he is a ninja master from Japan? You also said that as long as you go through his hellish training, you can defeat all the clubs in the school?" "Yes. I didn't lie to you. Haven't you achieved remarkable results recently?" The red-haired guy was a little puzzled. He didn't know what Du Rongwei was trying to do, so he said tentatively, "If you don't believe me, I can ask him to say a few words in Japanese to you." Bullshit. Do you think that just because he can say a few words, he is a Japanese? Du Rongwei raised his fractured right hand and said angrily, "Look at these injuries. These are the results of your so-called Japanese master's teaching. What's the result? Didn't I get beaten into this state by a normal person?" Redhead knew that Du Rongwei's appearance definitely wasn't a good thing. Now listening to what he said, he should have been beaten by someone, but logically speaking, it was unlikely. How could an ordinary person beat the disciple of a middle-aged ninja? Red Hair didn't know what to say. He quickly winked at the middle-aged ninja, wanting him to stand up and say a few words. That. Young Master Takashi, are you sure he's an ordinary person? The middle-aged ninja asked, confused. He couldn't understand it either. With Du Rongwei's current strength, he was at least a half-step martial artist. How could he have been injured by a normal student? Unless, the other party was also a martial artist. Aren't you King spouting nonsense? He's not an ordinary person. Could he be a Superman or an alien? Du Rongwei waved his hand impatiently and said coldly, don't talk about useless things. Now that your training has not achieved its effect, hurry up and refund my tuition fees, and then compensate me for my medical expenses. Otherwise, I won't let you off. Young Master Takashi, don't be anxious. According to what you said, the other party might be a martial artist, that's why he could injure you. How about this, I'll accompany you to meet that person and help you vent your anger. What do you think? The middle-aged ninja didn't continue the conversation. Instead, he took a different approach and said in a nice tone. Martial artist? Don't think that I don't know and you're trying to trick me. Martial artists are very powerful existences. Why would they appear in a university? Du Rongwei had a look of disbelief. There were many martial artists in his family, so he wasn't unfamiliar with this term. Hee, what's there to be surprised about? Isn't your master a stage 5 inner force martial artist? The middle-aged ninja knew that if he didn't show some of his true strength, he wouldn't be able to solve the problem today, so he directly revealed his strength. Du Rongwei was stunned, and his mouth couldn't close for a long time. He persisted in practicing karate for a few years, but in the end, he didn't even reach stage 1 inner force. He didn't expect that this ordinary-looking uncle in front of him was already a stage 5 inner force martial artist. Don't be in a daze. As long as you train with me, you'll reach this level sooner or later. The middle-aged ninja saw that he had finally subdued Du Rongwei, and he felt proud in his heart. He put on a casual look and said, Really? I can also become a martial artist? Du Rongwei came back to his senses, and his face was full of excitement and desire. He thought of something and asked expectantly, So, Master, you can really help me vent my anger? The middle-aged ninja stood up, stretched his muscles, and nodded lightly, Let's go. Bring me to see the person who injured you. He dared to beat up my disciple like this. I think that kid doesn't want to live. Although the middle-aged ninja wasn't interested in bullying university students, no matter what, Du Rongwei was a financial backer of the karate dojo. If he refused to pay the rest of the tuition fees because of his injury, and the red hair had to compensate him for his medical expenses, then it wouldn't be worth it. In desperation, the middle-aged ninja had to personally help him out. Okay. Master, please come with me. Du Rongwei's expression at this time was completely different from when he first entered the door. He stood up with difficulty and bowed respectfully. Diaozi hurriedly stepped forward and supported Du Rongwei. The two smiled and led the way in front of the middle-aged ninja to the direction of Lanqing University. When the three of them arrived at the martial arts club, it was just the time for afternoon classes. Except for the two members who had no classes and were cleaning, everyone else was in the classroom. The whole martial arts club was empty. After entering the door, Du Rongwei directly walked 2 steps toward the inner room. He glanced around and found that Wang Zhengtian was not inside. He was suddenly very unhappy. I brought my master here for revenge, but you're not here? You're not giving me face? Depressed, he pointed to the 2 members who were standing stupidly and scolded, Hey! You two, what are you doing? Hurry up and ask Wang Zhengtian to get out. My master wants to teach him a lesson. The 2 members saw that the man was injured all over, his right hand was still in a cast, and his face was unkind. It was obvious that he was here to pick a fight. They looked at each other anxiously. One of the members summoned up his courage and asked cautiously, that. Vice President Wang went to class. May I ask why you are looking for him? Nonsense. Is your brain punctured or waterlogged? Before Du Rongwei could speak, Biaozi roared and rushed up first. He gave the two members a big slap and then said fiercely, Our Master Wei has just said that his master wants to teach Wang a lesson. Are you too deaf? Hurry up and find him, or don't blame us for being rude. Du Rongwei stood there and nodded with satisfaction. It was convenient to have a younger brother like Biaozi who understood the situation. It saved him the trouble of having to compete with these two fools again. The two club members were stunned. One of them reacted quickly and realized that these people were here to challenge the club. He quickly took out his phone and gave Wang Zhengtian a call, giving him a brief report of the situation. He will be here soon. Wait a moment. After receiving the news that Wang Zhengtian would come immediately, the member put down his mobile phone, covered his face, and said weakly. You know what to do. Biaozi glared at the two of them. He moved two chairs over and placed them for Du Rongwei and the middle-aged ninja respectively. He helped them sit down and stood on the side with his head held high. It didn't take long for Wang Zhengtian to rush over. Looking at the handprints on the two club members' faces, then looking at the arrogant Du Rongwei and the arrogant middle-aged man beside him, Wang Zhengtian basically understood what had happened after hearing what the club members had said over the phone. You've got guts. I just beat you up in the morning, and you dare to come and find trouble in the afternoon. I think you really want to die, don't you? Wang Zhengtian said coldly. Although he was very angry, he was not impulsive enough to directly fight with them. He was also not stupid. Looking at the middle-aged ninja next to Du Rongwei, he estimated that this guy should have some skills. That was why Du Rongwei had the courage to come again and directly challenge him. Before figuring out the strength of the other party, Wang Zhengtian naturally would not act rashly. Instead, he secretly operated his internal force and was ready to fight. Ignorant kid, don't talk big. I'd like to see how strong you are. The middle-aged ninja had already seen the strength of Wang Zhengtian at the peak of martial artist level 3. He calmed down and slowly stood up, sneering. What are you? Before Wang Zhengtian finished his words, the middle-aged ninja had already displayed the strength of level 5 internal force. Without saying anything, he directly flew over and punched Wang Zhengtian in the chest. You are level 5 internal force. Wang Zhengtian was suddenly stunned. He did not expect that the other party would ignore his question and directly attack, and his movement was so fast. At that moment, Wang Zhengtian immediately judged that the other party's strength was 2 levels higher than his. At this time, it was too late to dodge. He could only raise his hands and use his internal force to protect his chest. Bang! A muffled sound could be heard. Wang Zhengtian's entire body flew out like a cannonball, smashing heavily into a wall not far behind him. The wall was directly smashed into a large hole, and the debris and dust fell directly to the ground. TSK TSK. The middle-aged ninja snorted coldly, slowly walking in the direction where Wang Zhengtian fell. With a face full of contempt, he said, I thought you were very strong, but you are only at level 3 internal force, and you dare to hurt my disciple? You are simply an ant. You can't even withstand a single blow. Wah! Wang Zhengtian slid to the ground and spat out a mouthful of blood. Both of his arms hung weakly on the ground. The blow he received just now had fractured both of his arms. Gritting his teeth, Wang Zhengtian struggled to stand up. Suddenly, a shadow covered his head, and then he saw a foot heavily stomping down on him. Chapter 908. Ah! Wang Zhengtian felt a sharp pain in his legs and couldn't help but scream. With 2 kacha sounds, his legs fell limply to the ground. It was obvious that his kneecaps had been crushed by someone. Wang Zhengtian was in so much pain that he almost fainted. He raised his head and saw the middle-aged ninja standing in front of him with a sneer on his face. He heard the ninja's cruel voice, "Kid, you broke my disciple's right hand. Now, I will cripple your limbs. This can be considered an eye for an eye. It's fair and reasonable. Master. Master, please be careful. Don't kill that brat. Otherwise, if the school investigates, I won't be able to escape." Du Rongwei didn't expect Wang Zhengtian to be taken care of in the blink of an eye. The middle-aged ninja was also so ruthless. He was shocked and quickly stopped him. "Since my disciple is pleading for you, I'll let you go today." Looking at Wang Zhengtian, who was like a pile of mud on the ground, the middle-aged ninja acted like he was giving Wang Zhengtian a favor. "Master, the problem here is solved. Let's go." Du Rongwei was also afraid that the middle-aged ninja would torture Wang Zhengtian and kill him, so he invited him to go. He had already decided to pay the tuition fee as soon as he returned to the karate dojo. He had to learn all of his master's skills. The middle-aged ninja nodded and looked down at Wang Zhengtian. "Loser, remember this. From now on, every time you see my disciple, you will kowtow to him 3 times before you leave. If you don't like it, you can find me at the Extreme Karate Club in the student market. I'll accompany you anytime." After saying that, the middle-aged ninja spat at Wang Zhengtian, and then swaggered out of the martial arts club in high spirits. Du Rongwei followed Wang Zhengtian happily. He had already vented his anger, and Wang Zhengtian was still alive. Even if the school pursued the matter, his family would take the blame for it. It would not affect him at all. The 2 members of the martial arts club who were standing at the side were scared silly. After Du Rongwei and the others left for a while, they finally came back to their senses. One of them hurriedly took out his phone and wanted to call an ambulance. After all, Wang Zhengtian's injuries were too severe. The medical equipment in the school infirmary was obviously not enough to save him. The other person quickly bandaged Wang Zhengtian's limbs and used splints to carefully fix the fractured joints. He then called Dong Zhiqi and Jia Muzhen to explain the situation and inform them to rush over as soon as possible. Since Dong Zhiqi did not go to class and was recuperating in the dormitory, which was relatively close to the martial arts club, he was the first to arrive at the scene. After asking the club members to understand the situation, Jia Muzhen, Xiao Chen, and Cheng Menjing also rushed over. Everyone was shocked when they saw how serious Wang Zhengtian's injuries were. This was no longer a normal guild challenge. This was a provocation. The school hospital no longer had the ability to treat this kind of injury. Not long after, the ambulance from Lon City's first hospital also arrived. The medical staff quickly checked Wang Zhengtian's injuries and sent him to the ambulance. Fortunately, his limbs had been bandaged by the club members and the fractured joints were fixed with splints. Although his joints were dislocated, he would be able to recover after some rest. However, because the opponent was too ruthless, Wang Zhengtian's ligaments and joints were severely injured. He might not be able to practice martial arts anymore. In other words, he was completely crippled. "President Dong, what's going on? Who beat Wang Zhengtian up like this?" Watching the ambulance leave, Xiao Chen, who stayed in the martial arts club, asked Dong Zhiqi. Jia Muzhen also accompanied Wang Zhengtian to the hospital to handle the procedures. Sigh. "I've only just found out about it. It's like this." Dong Zhiqi sighed. He had just asked the 2 club members who had been present throughout the incident, and only then did he know the ins and outs of the entire matter. Since Xiao Chen asked, he explained in detail how Du Rongwei was injured in the morning when he came to challenge the dojo and brought people to take revenge in the afternoon. Extreme Karate Dojo? This name sounds so familiar. I think I've heard it somewhere before. Cheng Menjing wrinkled her nose and said thoughtfully. I remember when we went to the student market for the first time, this karate dojo had just opened and was promoting it. I didn't expect it to be a place with crouching tigers and hidden dragons. Xiaofan frowned. Although Wang Zhengtian was only a stage 3 inner force martial artist, he should be considered powerful in the secular world. However, he was beaten into a pig's head and didn't seem to be able to fight back. It seemed that the people in the karate dojo had a powerful background. Humph. That Du Rongwei is really hateful. It's obvious that he took the initiative to provoke us. If he can't beat us, then he can't beat us. He actually went outside to find helpers. He's simply too shameless. Cheng Menjing snorted and angrily waved her little fist. Xiaofan turned to Dong Zhiqi and asked, "President Dong, the situation is so bad now. Is the school not going to do anything? Even if Wang Zhengtian is crippled, Du Rongwei won't be able to get away with it, right? Sigh, it would be very difficult for the school to investigate and collect evidence if they go through the proper procedures. After all, martial arts clubs often spar with each other. It's inevitable that they would get hurt. However, such a serious incident has never happened before. I'm guessing the school will need a long time to deal with it." Dong Zhiqi frowned and his expression was very serious. "Then after they deal with it, will Du Rongwei be punished?" Cheng Menjing rushed to ask. "I think it'll be difficult. Du Rongwei's family has a bit of a background in Lan City. Now that Wang Zhengtian's life is not in danger, it's possible that the two sides can negotiate and settle the matter with some money." Dong Zhiqi shook his head helplessly. Dong Zhiqi had been in the martial arts club for a while, so he knew that similar incidents had happened in the past. On the surface, many clubs would spar with each other in the name of sparring, but in the dark, they would resort to underhanded methods. They would even hire people from other places to help them, resulting in many injuries. In the beginning, the school did deal with the matter seriously a few times, but in the end, there would always be people from influential families stirring up trouble, and the matter would end without a conclusion. In the end, the school could not do anything about it. They could only choose to give a verbal warning and consider the matter over. "No way. Wouldn't that be lawless?" Cheng Menjing said angrily. Xiaofan did not say anything. He thought to himself, young mistress is still very silly and naive. Ever since Cheng Mengxiang stirred up trouble, no one dared to cause trouble for the Cheng family. You should know that the hedonistic sons of rich families who could do such things basically had a powerful background. Who would have the guts to provoke them? There's nothing we can do. After all, they are all from influential families. Many of them paid high sponsorship fees to join the club. Dong Zhiqi shook his head and told the truth. Damn it! Cheng Menjing was so angry that her face was flushed and her mouth was pouting. Seeing this, Dong Zhiqi said earnestly, "Now I will go to the school to make a record. In short, you guys have to be careful these days. Don't provoke Du Rongwei. Oh right, also inform Xing Gongzi and Ling Xiaoxue. Ask them to be careful." Xiaofan nodded seriously, but he almost laughed in his heart. Child Ladyboy is a Demon King level 10 Great Perfection expert. Who would mess with her for no reason? Isn't that courting death? As for Ling Xiaoxue, she didn't come to class after they parted in the morning. He didn't know how she was doing now. Xiaofan only hoped that her acting was realistic enough. It would be best if she could stun Child Ladyboy. Then, it would be a great success. "Xiaofan, let's go smash that crappy karate dojo. I really can't take this lying down." After Dong Zhiqi walked far away, Cheng Menjing tugged on Xiaofan's sleeves and said in a low voice. No problem. I'm also quite interested in that karate dojo." Xiaofan said indifferently, to be able to injure Wang Zhengtian, who is at the peak of martial warrior level 3, that person must be an expert. I just don't know why they are living in seclusion in the student market. I also want to go and take a look. He was indeed quite unhappy with those people. He was thinking about teaching them a lesson, but he didn't expect the Missy to bring it up first. If it was before, Xiaochen would probably be overcautious. But now, even if Ma Wanxiao came, he would still die. Then, shall we go now? Cheng Menjing asked with a little excitement. She was a little excited. After she advanced to Golden Core Level 1, she always wanted to find a chance to test her strength. However, she didn't have a suitable opponent. She couldn't possibly choose to fight with Xiaochen, right? He is not my opponent at all. Let's go at a later time. Let's go back first. To be on the safe side, we'll go with 2 unfamiliar faces to prevent people from recognizing us. Xiaochen thought for a while and felt that it was better to keep a low profile. After all, he still had to fool the lady boy. After the 2 of them discussed, they went back to their respective dormitories. Cheng Menjing hadn't returned to the dormitory for a few days. No matter what, she had to show her face. Otherwise, Ling Qianyu would think that she left without saying goodbye. Ling Qianyu wandered aimlessly on the streets for half a day. When the sun was about to set, she reluctantly returned to the dormitory. Although she had already discussed with Xiaochen and Cheng Menjing in the hotel, when it came to betraying Xing and Yakushima Kikuo, Ling Qianyu would more or less hesitate. Thus, she gave herself some time to mentally prepare herself. Why are you only back now? I tried calling you, but your phone was turned off. What happened? Xing, who had been waiting in the dormitory for half a day, asked expressionlessly when she saw Ling Qianyu push open the door and enter. I was, sob. Ling Qianxue's eyes reddened and large teardrops rolled down her cheeks. She sobbed and repeated the words Xiaochen taught her this morning, from beginning to end. Chapter 909. Stop complaining. Xing frowned slightly. Even though she sympathized with Ling Qianxue, she thought of her mission and hardened her heart. You were careless. Since you know you can't hold your liquor, don't drink so much. Plus, it was an order from Yi Dao. Ling Qianxue didn't say anything. She wiped her tears on the surface, but she had a different feeling in her heart. She felt that Xiaochen was more considerate. This young Master Xing really had a heart of stone. He didn't care about her feelings at all. Maybe to him, she was just a valuable tool. If young Master Xing knew what she was thinking, he wouldn't know whether to laugh or cry. She was also a woman. Even though she sympathized with him, the sex benefits were more important than anything else. Plus, young Master Xing and Ling Qianxue were only working together, not a couple. Alright, stop crying. Since you're a ninja, you must have this kind of awareness. Did you find out? Is that person Xiaochen? Seeing that Ling Qianxue was crying non-stop, Miss Xing sighed helplessly and asked. That Xiao Yi really doesn't seem to be Xiaochen. Ling Qianxue frowned and said in a low voice, but that Cheng Yaoyao seems to be Cheng Menjing. What? What does that mean? Did you find out or not? Xing felt that the first half of Ling Qianxue's sentence was within her expectations, but the second half of Ling Qianxue's sentence shocked her. What did she mean by Xiao Yi wasn't Xiaochen and Cheng Yaoyao was Cheng Menjing? How was that possible? Did Ling Qianxue still have a hangover? Even though I drank too much last night, I vaguely saw Cheng Yaoyao's face change a little. It seemed to have turned into Cheng Menjing. I don't know what happened either. Ling Qianxue said weakly. Xiaochen and Cheng Menjing thought about this for a long time before confirming that Ling Qianxue was telling the truth. She had received professional training in all aspects when she was in the Sakura group. Even though she couldn't say that she could trick people easily, it wasn't a problem to fool Xing. Oh? Hearing Ling Qianxue's words, Lady Xing suddenly remembered something. Last night, when she was waiting at the hotel entrance, there was a moment when she noticed that Cheng Yaoyao's face didn't look right. It was blurry, and he couldn't see it clearly. At that time, she wanted to take a closer look, but Xiao Yi left Ling Qianxue in the lobby and brought Cheng Yaoyao up first. At that time, little girl Xing was puzzled. What was Xiao Yi's goal? Why don't we go up together? Thinking of this, Miss Xing subconsciously guessed that these two people were really Xiao Chen and Cheng Menjing. Was it because Xiao Chen hid it so well that she couldn't see through it? How about this? Qianxue, during this period of time, your mission is to continue seducing Xiao Yi. You must get some real information from him. Xing Yu could not figure it out no matter how she thought about it, so she could only say helplessly, yes. Ling Qianxue agreed and secretly let out a sigh of relief. It seemed that she had muddled through, and young Master Xing shouldn't have found any clues. On the other hand, little girl Xing was deep in thought. How strange. This damn Xiao Chen is too cunning. If it's you, you should just admit it. That way, I can help Ma Baixie when he attacks you and not let him kill you. Now that you don't say anything, how would I know who you are? But little girl Xing didn't know that with Xiao Chen's current strength, even if Ma Baixie came looking for him, he still had the strength to fight. If the two of them fought, it was really hard to say who would win, so there was no need for her help at all. Ma Baixie had been bitten by invincible dog. After he ran back to the sect, not only did he spend more than a month to recover, his strength was greatly reduced, and his cultivation dropped by a lot. Right now, he was busy training in seclusion. Every day, he had to worry about whether other martial arts sects would come looking for him and steal his resources while his strength was greatly reduced. How could he have the time to care about Xiao Chen's life or death? That night, the proud and elated Du Rongwei specially invited Red and the two ninjas to a banquet. They had a sumptuous meal at a luxurious hotel and then went to a sauna. He even found a few high-quality prostitutes to serve them. Until late at night, everyone comfortably returned to the extreme karate dojo at the student market. Just as they parked the car, they noticed something was wrong. They saw that the karate dojo was brightly lit, and on the sofa in the hall sat a man and a woman. The man looked ordinary, and his legs were crossed. The woman was quite beautiful, but she also had an impatient look on her face. Everyone looked at each other in confusion. Before coming out, they clearly locked the door. How did these two people get in? After listening to Du Rongwei and the middle-aged ninja's praises today, the young ninja's confidence in the karate dojo was unprecedentedly high. He swaggered over and asked condescendingly, "Are you here to sign up to learn karate? Our business hours are over. Come back tomorrow with your tuition fees." Second master, wait. Du Rongwei didn't drink because he had to drive, so he was still sober. He trotted over and pulled the young ninja. He said softly, "These two people suddenly appeared in our dojo and broke our door. They definitely don't have good intentions. Hey! What are you guys doing?" Redhead also heard Du Rongwei's words and nodded his head in deep thought. He walked in front of Xiao Chen with a mouth full of the smell of alcohol and shouted with an unclear voice, "You two have quite the guts. How dare you break into my karate dojo? Are you F***king tired of living? Oh, I thought it was some otherworldly master. So it's you again, you little bastard." Xiao Chen stood up with a surprised expression. He really didn't expect the owner of this karate dojo to be red hair. Among the three people behind him, weren't two of them Ling Qianxue's ninjas? Why did these idiots come to Lan City as well? The other one didn't look old, and his right hand was wrapped in a white cloth. He must be Du Rongwei, whose hand was broken by Wang Zhengtian. "We're here to challenge your dojo. Don't talk nonsense. Do you dare to accept our challenge?" Cheng Menjing also stood up. She clenched her fist and waved it in the air. She and Xiao Chen had already transformed into another person, but she had purposely transformed her face into that of a beautiful woman. This way, she would feel a little better. "Little girl, look at you, you're fair and clean, and you're quite pretty, but your tone is pretty big." The middle-aged ninja's eyes lit up when he saw Cheng Menjing. He felt that this little girl was much prettier than the girls just now. His lower abdomen couldn't help but feel hot. He walked over with a lewd smile and reached out his hand to take advantage of her. He continued to tease her, "You're a girl. Isn't it bad to fight and kill? How about this, you accompany us for a night? I promise I can make you want to die. How about that? You, pervert. Pervert." Cheng Menjing looked at the lewd face that was getting bigger and bigger in front of her. She couldn't help but get angry. She dodged the middle-aged ninja's perverted hand and quickly channeled her mental cultivation to fully display the strength of Demon King Level 1. She slammed her palm heavily on the middle-aged ninja's chest. Boom! The middle-aged ninja was so drunk that he didn't even have time to react before he was sent flying by Cheng Menjing. He directly crashed into Du Rongwei's car outside the door, causing a large dent in the car. The middle-aged ninja spat out a mouthful of blood and slid down from the car like mud. He didn't move at all. He was obviously dead. You're Demon King Level 1. Looking at the big hole in the middle-aged man's chest, the young ninja instantly woke up from his drunken state. He was so scared that his legs went soft. He didn't know what to do and couldn't even speak clearly. The red-haired guy and Du Rongwei on the side were also shocked. Although they weren't cultivators, they heard from the two ninjas how the strength of people in the martial arts world was divided. The young ninja just said that the little girl was actually Demon King Level 1. As a matter of fact, a Demon King level master was like a god to ordinary people like them. "Miss, as the saying goes, don't use a butcher's knife to kill a chicken. You're too heavy-handed. You don't even need to use your energy to deal with this kind of inner strength level 5 trash. You just need to push him lightly." Xiaofan said lightly. Originally, he only planned to teach the red-haired guy a lesson and let them suffer a little. He didn't expect the miss to use a killer move as soon as she made her move. Then why didn't you say so earlier? When Cheng Menjing saw that the middle-aged ninja was dead, she was instantly scared silly. She didn't have any fighting experience and didn't know how to hold back, so she used her full strength the moment she made a move. Hearing what Xiaofan said, she was at a loss and asked, "Xiaofan, what should I do now? I killed someone. Will the police arrest me? Will I be sentenced to death? You, don't just stand there like a fool. Help me think of a way. You didn't ask me just now." Looking at the Mrs. panicked look, Xiaofan was angry and amused at the same time. He shook his head helplessly and comforted her softly, "Don't worry too much. I've killed so many people before, and I'm still fine. Besides, don't forget that your face is an illusion. Even if the police call, they won't be able to recognize you. Besides, the martial arts world has its own rules." "Oh, yes, yes, yes." Cheng Menjing nodded repeatedly and breathed a sigh of relief. She almost forgot that she didn't show her real face. Looking at the middle-aged ninja lying in a pool of blood, she mentally prepared herself again. Well, it's okay. Anyway, he's a heinous bad guy. If he's dead, then he's dead. It's no big deal. Xiaofan almost laughed out loud when he heard this. The miss was really funny. She didn't act like this when he killed someone for the first time. Cheng Menjing finished mentally preparing herself and then asked, "Then what should we do next? Should we teach them another lesson?" "What? Are you addicted to fighting? Didn't you see that they're scared like dogs? Now we just need to go over and pretend." Looking at the miss who was eager to fight, Xiaofan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Chapter 9-10. Cheng Menjing was stunned. Before she could react, Xiaofan released a powerful pressure and walked over slowly. He looked at Redhead and the others with disdain and said, "Brat, do you know how powerful we are now? Do you have any more questions? Good. Hero. Heroine. I, Redhead, am convinced. If you have any requests, feel free to state them. As long as you spare my life, I will agree to anything you want. Even if you want me to be your godson. Redhead said while trembling. He was already out of breath from the intense pressure. He was already half sober. His legs turned to jelly, and he was about to kneel down and call for his father. Forget it. We will have a dozen sons of our own. We don't need a retard or a moron to join us. Xiaofan used a bit of force, and Redhead felt like he was being supported. He couldn't kneel down no matter what. Redhead's face turned pale when he saw Xiaofan's refusal. His whole body trembled as he was afraid that Xiaofan would kill him. Xiaofan didn't care what Redhead was thinking. He casually patted his shoulder and said calmly, "Our request is simple. As long as you hand over the tuition fees that this crappy karate dojo has earned recently, compensate Wang Jingtian 1,800,000 for his medical fees, and be responsible for all his expenses from now until he fully recovers, then hand this karate dojo over to Lan City University's Martial Arts Club's president, Dong Jiqi." Originally, Xiaofan planned to scam Redhead for a sum of money. However, before he spoke, he suddenly remembered that the school's martial arts club needed a place to recruit students. Thus, he changed his mind and settled Wang Jingtian's medical fees as well. Wang Jingtian? Dong Jiqi? Redhead was stunned. He was a little confused. The former's name sounded familiar, but he had never heard of the latter. Could it be that he was even more powerful than this guy in front of him? You are Wang Jingtian's friends? Du Rongwei finally came to a realization. His intestines turned green with regret. This man and woman were here to support Wang Jingtian. If he knew that Wang Jingtian had such a powerful backer, he wouldn't have agreed to the middle-aged ninja's request. He had suffered a double loss. Sigh. Ding dong. You guessed it right, but there's no reward. Xiaofan didn't deny it. Instead, he glanced at them coldly and said, "I'll give you 2 days to complete the tasks I've given you. If I find out that you dare to run away, then the consequences will be the same as this car." Boom. Xiaofan casually pushed his palm towards Du Rongwei's car. After a loud bang, a cloud of smoke rose up. When the smoke dissipated, the car that was originally dented had turned into a pile of scrap metal. We'll definitely do as you say. Don't worry, great hero. Red Hair was dumbfounded as he looked at this scene. He felt a chill run down his spine and his legs trembled. He was so scared that he almost peed his pants. That's good. Then, we'll be leaving. Take care of yourselves. Xiaofan called out to Cheng Menjing and walked out. Seeing Xiaofan and Cheng Menjing finally leave, their figures disappearing into the darkness, Du Rongwei shuddered in hindsight. He asked weakly, "Big brother Red Fur, what should we do now? Hurry up and think of something." Slap. Red Hair jumped up and slapped Du Rongwei's face. He scolded angrily, "Motherf asterisk cur. It's all because you've recklessly gone around stirring up trouble, causing me such a huge disaster. What else can I do? Of course, we'll do as that great hero says." Du Rongwei covered his swollen face and opened his mouth. In the end, he closed it gloomily. Red Hair was right. He was the one who caused this. He couldn't defend himself no matter what. Since you're the one who caused the trouble, then you'll pay for the medical fees. Also, you'll have to compensate me with the original price of this shop. Otherwise, I'll kill you. Red Hair flew into a rage and shouted at Du Rongwei. Du Rongwei didn't say a word. He was helpless and sullen, but he could only swallow his anger. Now, he had to pay for it. Who asked him to provoke someone he shouldn't have? Red Hair was also unwilling. He thought he could rely on his brain and the martial arts skills of the two ninjas to earn some money. In the end, he lost his backer in the blink of an eye. Could it be that he had to return to Songning City and do his old business of collecting protection fees? When Xiao Chen and Cheng Menjing returned to school, it was already late at night. Their dormitory had already been locked, so they couldn't enter. Helplessly, they could only go to a nearby express hotel and get a room for dual cultivation. Although they were dual cultivation for the whole night, until the next morning, Xiao Chen's strength didn't advance any further. On the contrary, Cheng Menjing successfully advanced to the peak of the second level of the Golden Core stage. This made Xiao Chen somewhat depressed. He thought he could smoothly break through to the 10th level of the Golden Core stage, but he didn't expect to be stuck halfway and unable to break through no matter what. Elder Heaven Ancestor, is there something wrong with me? Why can't I advance as fast as before? On the way back to school, the more Xiao Chen thought about it, the more he felt that something was wrong. He could only seek help from the Elder Heaven Ancestor in his mind. There's something wrong with you. To Xiao Chen's surprise, the Elder Heaven Ancestor actually agreed with his statement. No way. Is there really one? What's the problem? Can it be solved? I won't be stuck here, right? Xiao Chen suddenly became anxious and asked repeatedly. There's something wrong with your brain. The Elder Heaven Ancestor angrily reprimanded him and said, it hasn't even been a month and you've already advanced from the second level of the Golden Core stage to the 9th level of the Golden Core stage. What's wrong? Don't you feel satisfied? You should know that I didn't advance as fast as you back then. Don't be greedy, like a snake trying to swallow an elephant. Pfft. Xiao Chen almost spat out. What kind of answer was that? Was it wrong for him to advance quickly? Rubbing his nose helplessly, Xiao Chen put on a thick face and asked, Elder Celestial, that, other than dual cultivation, spirit jades, and natural treasures, are there any other ways to quickly increase one's strength? There is. It's by using top-grade medicinal pills. But with your current strength, I don't think you can get such treasures. The Elder Heaven Ancestor replied indifferently. Xiao Chen was somewhat speechless. Not to mention the top-grade medicinal pills, he didn't even have the money to buy those medicinal pills. Don't you still have some demonic qi in your body? You can just refine it. Recently, when you and Cheng Menjing dual cultivated, you only used primordial qi. You haven't touched the demonic qi at all. As if sensing Xiao Chen's embarrassment, the Elder Heaven Ancestor kindly reminded him. That's right. How could I forget about this? I'll try it later. While Xiao Chen was still thinking about it, he suddenly felt someone pat his shoulder. Xiao Chen turned his head and saw that it was the two girls, Tian Suruan and Su Chuxia. Oh hey oh. Student Xiao Yi, what a coincidence. You look good today. Is it because you saw Sister Suruan? Tian Suruan said with a smile. She and Su Chuxia had just run out of the school to eat breakfast when they saw Xiao Chen and Cheng Menjing. Although Jia Muzhen wasn't there, Tian Suruan happened to be looking for Xiao Chen for help, so she quickly followed them. What do you want? Jia Muzhen isn't with me. Go find him in the ancient martial arts classroom. Xiao Chen frowned and said straightforwardly. Every time Tian Suruan came looking for him with a cheeky smile, it was definitely nothing good. If it wasn't for him to treat Sister Suruan to a meal, it was to find out about Jia Muzhen's whereabouts in a roundabout way. Of course, Xiao Chen was actually quite willing to treat her. However, the young mistress had just accepted Ling Qinshue's reality. If she brought up Tian Suruan again, even Xiao Chen would feel embarrassed. Oh, Sister Suruan isn't looking for that four-eyed guy this time. She's looking for you. Tian Suruan winked mysteriously and said softly. Why are you looking for me? I don't sell my skills or my body. The famous grass already has an owner, so there's no need to loosen the soil. Xiao Chen casually said as he pulled Cheng Menjing forward. Tisk, do you think Sister Suruan likes you? I just want to ask you a few questions. Tian Suruan rolled her eyes. What questions? If it's about academics, then don't waste your time. I'm just a slacker. Xiaochen shrugged his shoulders and looked at Tian Suru innocently. Although my girlfriend is a prodigy, she doesn't have the time to deal with your trivial matters. So, you should just hurry up and play, EGGGO. EGGGO? What does that mean? Tian Suruan was stunned. She looked at Su Chuxia and found that she was also confused. She couldn't understand what English Xiaochen was speaking. It means to play EGGGO. You can't even understand such simple English. Looks like you're a slacker like me. Xiaochen mocked. Pfft. Tian Suruan almost spat out. Su Chuxia also couldn't help but laugh. She didn't expect English to be so straightforward. Only a slacker like Xiao Yi could understand it. Stop fooling around. Sister Suruan really has something serious to ask you. After laughing for a while, Tian Suruan retracted her expression and said seriously. Go ahead. Xiaochen nodded. He wanted to hear what Tian Suruan wanted to talk to him about. Aya, aren't you going to treat Sister Suruan to breakfast? I'm still hungry. I don't have the energy to stand and chat. Tian Suruan's expression changed. She held her stomach and said pitifully. She looked at Xiaochen with a face full of grievance. I say, classmate Tian, you're the one who wants to ask me questions. Do I have to treat you to breakfast? Don't tell me you're here to make fun of me. Xiaochen cast a sidelong glance at Tian souring in annoyance. As expected, this girl could not be serious for more than 3 seconds, and she immediately exposed herself. Sigh. Tian Suruan let out a long sigh. She pouted and said, losers really can't do it. It's a rare opportunity to have breakfast with the goddess of the masses, Sister Suruan. You don't know how to grasp it. Maybe if you're generous, you can capture Sister Suruan's heart. Chapter 9-11. Oh, I'm sorry. I already have a girlfriend, and I know my place. So, do you have something to say or not? If there's nothing to say, then move aside. Don't block my way to class. Xiaochen ignored Tian's souring sigh. He felt helpless. This Tian's souring was too much. If she wanted a free meal, just say it. Why did she have to waste so much time? Cheng Menjing couldn't hold it in anymore. She glared at Tian souring and said, that's right. Why are you looking for Xiao Yi? Hurry up and say it. We don't have time to chat with you. If you're late again, Xiao Yi will be punished to stand in the hallway again. She had never liked Tian souring. She had a feeling that this girl seemed to have something going on with Xiaochen. She was also worried that Xiaochen would say too much and accidentally expose himself. Hey. Don't be like that. Let's talk about it. Big Sister souring will treat us. When Tian Suruan saw that Xiaochen and Xiao Luo were really going to leave, he hurriedly blocked their path and spoke with a pained expression. Xiaochen looked at the reluctant Tian souring suspiciously. Did I hear that right? You said you're treating us? Did the sun rise from the west today? Since Tian souring said it was her treat, she didn't argue anymore. She pointed to the breakfast shop beside the school and said, let's go there and eat. We can talk while we eat. Although she was a little reluctant, Tian souring endured the pain and decided to spend some money to achieve her goal. Fortunately, the breakfast shop beside the school wasn't too expensive. Even if the 4 of them ate, it wouldn't cost much. Oh. That's more like it. Since you invited us so warmly, let's go. Seeing that Tian souring really wanted to treat them, Xiaochen happily agreed. Then, he pulled Cheng Menjing to the breakfast shop. Tian souring and Su Chuxia followed behind them. The moment his butt touched the stool, Xiaochen quickly ordered a lot of pastries. He even ordered a few bowls of tofu pudding and soy milk. Recently, Xiao Chen's energy consumption was much greater than usual due to his frequent dual cultivation, so his appetite had also increased sharply. He stared dumbfoundedly at the food Xiao Chen had ordered, then turned to look at the price list. Tian Soran felt his heart ache. It was as if the money in his wallet had grown wings, flying into the breakfast shop owner's pocket one after another. All right, let's order these for now. Sister Saori and Wuxia are on a diet, so they usually eat very little. If they don't have enough, we can add more. Seeing that Xiao Chen was about to order more, Tian Saori quickly stopped him. If he were to continue, he would lose his life here today. Oh, all right. Then tell me, what questions do you have for me? Xiao Chen asked vaguely as he stopped, then grabbed a few meat buns and stuffed them into his mouth. Actually, Sister Sour wants to know if Jia Muzhen has any unusual behavior? Tian Sour thought for a moment and asked. What kind of abnormal behavior? Does playing games in the dormitory count? Or do you want to watch a video and do it yourself? Xiao Chen asked innocently. Ahem, for example, did he mention any sex when he was on the phone? Families. Or martial artists, generals, or anything like that? Tian Yogurt gulped down his tofu pudding. He seemed to be asking casually, but his eyes were fixed on Xiao Chen. I don't quite understand. Jia Muzhen doesn't know folk art like lion dance, does he? He doesn't look like a performer. As for that dance sauce, what is it? Is it something like sweet sauce or hot and sour sauce? Xiao Chen thought for a moment and asked doubtfully. He was getting more and more confused. What was Tian Sour trying to do? Why was she investigating these things? She didn't have any cultivation, right? Pfft. The tofu pudding in Tian Sour's mouth sprayed out. She was sitting in front of Xiao Chen, so she sprayed it all over his face. She immediately felt embarrassed and passed a napkin over. Xiao Chen was speechless. He took the napkin and wiped the tofu pudding and soup off his face. He couldn't hold it against Tian Sour for his own sins. He could only accept his bad luck. Tian Sour said awkwardly, "Io, don't ask so much. Even if you know, it's still an illness. Just tell me if you have it or not." Xiao Chen frowned and tried to recall carefully. Jia Muzhen really didn't say those things in front of him. He shook his head and said, "I really don't. Other than attending classes in the classroom, he's reading and playing games in the dormitory every day. He doesn't do anything else." Really? Tian Sour was a little doubtful and had a look of disbelief. What, steamed or boiled? It's up to you whether you believe it or not. If you don't believe it, then forget it. Xiao Chen rewarded Tian Sour with a big forehead and lowered his head to eat his porridge. Tian Sour pouted and looked at Cheng Yao who was drinking soy milk. She smiled evilly and said, "Sister Sour really doesn't believe it. You only know how to take your girlfriend out to get a room. I don't think you've had any contact with Jia Muzhen, right? Why are you asking me if you know? Aren't you just looking for trouble?" Xiao Chen said in a bad mood. This. Tian Sour was really at her wit's end. She hesitated for a while and said sneakily, "Aya, how about this? Help Sister Sour keep an eye out. If Jia Muzhen says those things or indirectly mentions Sister Sour, tell me later. Sister Sour will give you a big reward." After saying that, Tian Sour threw a flirtatious look at Xiao Chen and put on a seductive expression. Cheng Menjing was furious. "Oh? What reward? If it's something too ordinary, I won't be interested in it. If it's something too expensive, you won't be able to afford it. Why do I feel like you're tricking me?" Xiao Chen said lazily as he rubbed his chin with a disinterested expression. Aya, you're really something. Why do you need Sister Sour Sour to say it so clearly? It's more romantic if you're a little more mysterious. Tian Sour Sour cleared her throat and said deliberately. No, I'm timid. I don't like things that are too mysterious. Just tell me directly. Xiaofan shook his head. He looked like he wouldn't help if Tian Sour Sour didn't want to ask. Tian Sour Sour couldn't dissuade Xiaofan. She rolled her eyes and moved closer to him. She lowered her voice and said, Ahem, if you successfully get the information, then Sister Sour Sour can reward you with a set of my underwear and underwear. If you want Su Chuxia's, Sister Sour Sour can get it for you. How about that? Sister Sour Sour is a good friend, right? This was the idea that Tian Sour Sour had just thought of. She planned to go online and buy some cheap underwear and underwear for Xiaofan. Anyway, he was a poor loser. He wouldn't be able to see anything. Who knows, he might even be excited to death. She could bring it back and treasure it. Chapter 9:12. Xiaofan was stunned. It took him a while to react. What the heck, what do I need these things for? It's not like I can eat them. Is there something wrong with your brain? You don't understand. When you miss Sister Sourly Sour or Chuxia, you can use those things to do it. Tian Sourly Sour inculcated. Aren't all the losers on the internet like that? Also, there are those who wear underwear on their faces. They say it can increase their taste. After saying that, Tian Souri raised her eyebrows at Xiaofan, giving him a, look. Pfft. Cough, cough, cough. Xiaofan had just swallowed a piece of flatbread when he suddenly heard Tian Souri's explosive words. He choked and almost couldn't speak. After a long time, he finally recovered and gave Tian Souri a thumbs up. I didn't expect you to be so knowledgeable. I'm impressed. I'm impressed. Although he said that, Xiaofan was actually very gloomy in his heart. He didn't expect that this stupid girl Tian Suruan not only treated him as a pure loser, but also thought that he was a super pervert who liked to collect beautiful women's underwear and underwear. Of course. Tian Souri proudly stuck out her chest after receiving the compliment. The two bunnies on her chest suddenly shook. Xiaofan sat opposite her and happened to see this scene. This unconscious flirtatious scene made him swallow his saliva uncontrollably. Ouch! A sharp pain suddenly came from his waist. Xiaofan felt that the soft flesh on his waist had been pinched by the missy. He quickly retracted his gaze and laughed dryly. Then you have to tell me, why are you asking these questions? I can only help you if you answer me. After all, Jia Muzin and I are good roommates and gay friends. I can't do something like investigating him behind his back. What if you want to harm him? Aya, how is that possible? Sister Souri definitely can't harm him. Look at Sister Souri's flawless and beautiful face. You should know that I'm not a bad person. Everyone says that pretty girls are basically good people. Tian sourly and narcissistically posed in a pose commonly used by girls to take selfies and vowed. Why haven't I heard of this before? And it's hard to say. Look at you, you're always so mysterious. Xiaofan was retorting when Tian Soran subconsciously looked outside the door. Suddenly, his expression changed. He bent down and crawled under the table. Xiaofan was shocked. He didn't know what was wrong with Tian Suruan again. He asked with a puzzled expression, "What are you doing? We were talking nicely here, so why did he slip away like that? I don't need any special services. Hurry up, stand up." Su Chuxia and Cheng Menjing were also stunned. They looked at each other in confusion. Su Chuxia lowered her head and looked under the table. She wanted to ask Tian Suruan what was going on, but he kept waving his hands. "What are you doing? There's no money on the floor to pick up." Before Xiaochen could finish his sentence, he heard Tian Suruan whisper, "Shu, shu, shu." Su Chuxia saw Tian Suruan squatting under the table and pressing his index finger to his lips. He kept shushing them, signaling everyone to be quiet. "Stop shushing. Are you going to the toilet? Be careful that I don't pee on your face." Xiaochen shook his body. "Don't talk." Tian Suruan was really anxious now. He lowered his voice and shouted. Why was this Xiaochen so blind? Although he was a little puzzled, Xiaochen looked down and saw Tian Suruan's eyes staring at the door, as if he was observing someone. It was not convenient for Xiaochen to look back, so he quietly released his divine sense and followed Tian Suruan's gaze to observe the movement outside the door. After searching for a while, Xiaochen suddenly discovered that there were two adepts in ancient attire looking left and right not far from the entrance of the breakfast shop. Judging from the weak aura they emitted, Xiaochen was sure that they were martial general-level experts, and they seemed to be looking for someone. Something stirred in Xiaochen's heart. He used his divine sense to listen to what they were saying. "Senior brother Heiyu, this should be the place, right?" According to the information provided by the higher-ups, the person we're looking for should be in Lan City's university. "This should be Lan City University." A younger-looking cultivator asked the older cultivator beside him, holding a rolled-up piece of xian paper in his hand. He glanced at Lan City University's gate and looked at it. "Yes, Lan City's university should be Lan City University." Heiyu nodded in a serious manner. He looked around and saw that there were students going to class one after another. He said to the young cultivator, "Junior martial brother Bai Qi, go find a few students and ask them. See if you can find out anything." "All right." Bai Qi nodded and looked around. He immediately locked onto his target and walked over to a group of male students. He patted one of them on the shoulder and asked, "Hey, fellow student, let me ask around. Have you guys seen this person before?" As he spoke, Bai Qi unfolded the xian paper in his hand. There was a vivid and lifelike drawing of a little girl on it. She looked rather cute. Xiaochen examined the drawing with his divine sense from afar and was immediately shocked. Wasn't the person in the drawing Tian Suruan? Why would these two cultivators have a drawing of her? Although the Tian Suruan in the drawing looked a little young and had a very fair complexion, unlike the wheat-colored one she was now, it wasn't the first day that Xiaochen and Tian Suruan had known each other. They were very familiar with each other, so he recognized the drawing at first glance. No wonder Tian Suruan was in such a hurry to hide. It turned out that these people were looking for her. But why were they looking for her? Could it be that her family was related to a sect in the martial arts world? After thinking about it, Xiaochen realized that this was indeed a possibility. In the past, when he was with Tian Suruan, he had never heard her mention anything about her family. Sometimes, when Xiaochen accidentally asked about it, Tian Suruan would either feign ignorance or make up a random story to fool him. In the end, the story would always be different. At that time, Xiaochen didn't pay much attention to it. He thought that Tian Suruan was just playing around and spouting nonsense. But now, Xiaochen couldn't help but feel a little suspicious. If Tian Suruan's family was really from the martial arts world, then her repeated attempts to find out about Jia Muzin's background would be a little tricky. Moreover, she had also mentioned sects and martial generals. Could it be that Jia Muzin's family was also from the martial arts world? At this thought, Xiaochen's heart tightened. If that was really the case, then shouldn't he be on guard against Jia Muzin? Perhaps both his and Tian Suruan's families were related to the Kuei Mountain sect. They might even be affiliated families. Chapter 913. I've never seen it before. Although many thoughts flashed through Xiaochen's mind, it only lasted for a moment. Just as Xiaochen was pondering, he saw the students take a quick look at the portrait and shake their heads. That's right. Bai Qi asked a few more people. Those students were all rushing to class. They took a quick glance at the portrait and said they didn't recognize it. Some of them didn't even look at it and quickly ran away. Bai Qi didn't know if they thought he was an advertisement seller. Senior Yu, I don't think this will work. Let's not talk about whether these university students looked at it seriously. Even if they did, they might not recognize it. After all, this school looks very big and this portrait is from a few years ago. God knows what she looks like now. After running into a wall several times, Bai Qi turned around and asked Yu helplessly. That's true. Yu nodded in agreement. After thinking for a while, he said, I think, why don't we look for the local bullies or people from the streets? They're more well-informed and it'll be easier for us to find people. Senior brother's idea is good. Then let's take a look around. There's no point in staying here. Bai Qi expressed his agreement. He kept the portrait and followed Yu to the nearby student market. Watching the two cultivators walk further and further away from the breakfast shop, Tian Suruan finally heaved a sigh of relief and crawled out from under the table. However, she still stared at the back of the two cultivators in shock, afraid that they would suddenly turn around and see her. Xiaofan also collected his thoughts and smiled silently. He felt that his imagination just now was a little too wild. After all, whether it was the disciples of the inner or outer martial arts sects, it was not easy for them to come to the secular world. Not to mention staying here for a few years and studying and getting into a university. Moreover, Tian Suruan's accent was obviously Lan City's. She must have grown up in Lan City. It was even more impossible for her to be from a martial arts family. Xiaofan thought to himself. Perhaps Tian Suruan or her family had offended someone in the martial arts world. That was why the two cultivators wanted to seek revenge on her. It seemed that he should find a time to ask her properly. Oh my, you scared Sister Sour to death. No, Sister Sour has to find a washroom to relieve herself. Otherwise, I'll leak out. Tian Souring propped himself up and said to Su Chuxia with a trembling voice, Chuxia, wait for me for a while. I need to go to the washroom. I'll be right back. Alright, hurry up. Class is about to start. Su Chuxia nodded. She had a rough idea of what was going on with Tian Suruan, but with Xiao Yi and Cheng Yaoyao around, she couldn't ask too much. She could only pretend that Tian Suruan was just being surprised. I think I drank too much tofu pudding. I need to use the restroom too. Xiaofan hurriedly said a few words to Cheng Menjing when he saw Tian Suruan run off. Then, he followed him. He planned to wait for Tian Suruan to come out before asking him about the situation. Cheng Menjing stared at Xiaofan's back suspiciously. She was a little unhappy. Damn you, Xiaofan. You're just trying to flirt with Tian Suruan. You're the one with the problem. You're the one with the problem. However, Missy only grumbled in her heart. She did not stop Xiaofan from going. Tian Suruan's words made her suspicious as well. She was also guessing if Tian Suruan was a disciple of a martial arts sect. After all, Tian Suruan's behavior was very abnormal. That was why Missy allowed Xiaofan to test the waters. Hey, I'm talking to you. Hand over the monthly stipend, and this place will be under Brother Red Hair's protection from now on. In the student bazaar, a young ninja kicked a stall by the roadside and shouted fiercely, "Did you hear that? If you want to set up a stall here from now on, you'll have to pay a protection fee of 2,000 every month. If you refuse a toast only to drink a forfeit. I'll beat you up every time I see you." Behind the young ninja with an arrogant face, two people swaggered behind. One was Red Hair, and the other was Du Rongwei. After Red Hair lost his income, he wanted to return to Songning City with his tail between his legs. After all, there were still some underlings and connections there that could help him with his business. However, he considered that he had suffered losses in the hands of the Youtiao seller. If he returned, he might be trampled on a few more times. Therefore, he gave up on the idea. Therefore, he brought along the young ninja and Du Rongwei to do what they used to do. They prepared to collect protection fees from the student bazaar. The reason why Du Rongwei followed behind Red Hair was that after he compensated Wang Zhengtian with a sizable amount of medical fees, he was extremely poor in a short period of time. He had no money to compensate Red Hair for a shop. Originally, Du Rongwei wanted to ask for help from his family. However, after his elders found out about this matter, they were furious. They thought that Du Rongwei's life wouldn't be in danger for a while, so they told him to solve it himself. Therefore, Du Rongwei had no choice but to be Red Hair's underling. However, there was an advantage to being an underling. It was that he could continue to learn karate from the young ninja. Du Rongwei weighed the pros and cons and was willing to follow Red Hair. The student bazaar itself had a market management office. Under normal circumstances, ordinary gangsters wouldn't be able to enter. The public security was considered perfect. However, the young ninja just went to the management office, and then simply stepped on an iron chair, turning it into a discus. The managers and security guards didn't dare to make a sound and could only let them collect money. What a joke! Who dared to go up and stop them? What if they were also stomped into a meat patty? Anyway, they were all working for the boss. As long as the rent wasn't bad, they could do whatever they wanted. Ugh! With the young ninja's scare, the small vendors didn't know what to do. They looked at each other with fear and hesitation. The money they usually earned was from the students. It was a small profit but quick turnover. To them, 2,000 yuan would take half a month of hard work to earn. After deducting the stall fees and purchase fees, it was basically a month's profit. If they gave it away just like that, how could they make a living? However, looking at the fiendish expressions of these people, it seemed like this matter wouldn't end well if they didn't hand over the money today. The vendors couldn't help but groan inwardly. Some of them were students from poor families in Lancheng University. They originally wanted to set up a stall when they didn't have classes to share some of the pressure at home. They didn't expect to meet Red Hair's group of people. A few students felt that the young ninja didn't seem to notice them. They signaled each other with their eyes and were about to bend down and slip away. However, they were caught by Red Hair. Chapter 9:14. Motherf *Ker, you guys still dare to run? The red-haired guy stepped forward and grabbed one of the students. He was planning to use him to establish his dominance, but before he could prepare his lines, he felt someone pat his shoulder. Brat, are you the manager of this area? We have something to talk to you about. The red-haired guy was stunned. Before he could react, he heard a cold voice coming from behind him. Motherf *Ker, I'm trying to establish my dominance. Who dares to mess things up? The red-haired guy turned around unhappily and saw two people in ancient clothes standing in front of him. They were Bai Qi and Hei Yu. Originally, they wanted to walk around the student market to see if they could find help, but they happened to see the red-haired guy and the others collecting protection fees. The two of them were overjoyed. Aren't they the local tyrants? They quickly walked up and wanted to have a chat with the red-haired guy. The red-haired guy looked them up and down. He thought they were small vendors who set up stalls nearby, so he scolded them impatiently. Motherf *Ker, why are you looking for me? If you want to pay up, hurry up. Don't think you can scare me with a few cosplay outfits. Humph. Bai Qi saw that the guy was arrogant and didn't care about them at all. He could not help but snort coldly. He directly activated his cultivation method and displayed the strength of a peak level 4 martial general. He released waves of suppression toward the red-haired guy. The red-haired guy immediately felt a sense of suppression coming from all directions. His limbs instantly became very heavy. This made his expression change. He looked at the young ninja with a pleading gaze. You You're a peak level 4 martial general. The young ninja saw this scene and was instantly scared silly. What's going on? How did he encounter so many experts? Isn't this too unlucky? Although Bai Qi's suppression was not as powerful as Xiao Chen's, it still scared the red-haired guy. When he heard the young ninja mention his opponent's strength, he was so scared that his legs turned to jelly. He turned his body with difficulty and wanted to escape. Do you think you can escape? Come here, I have something to ask you. Bai Qi carried Red Hair into an alley on the side like he was carrying a puppy. Hey you, on the other hand, pointed at Du Rongwei and the young ninja, signaling them to go with him. The two of them really didn't want to go over, but their strength was inferior to the other party, so they could only follow him in with bitter faces. As for the peddlers who set up the stalls, they all heaved a sigh of relief when they saw Redhead and the others being taken away by someone more powerful. Although they didn't know what had happened, the peddlers had a strong sense of danger. They took the opportunity to pack their things and escape. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to escape if Red Hair came back to find trouble with them. This big brother, what instructions do you have for this little brother? As long as I can do it, I will not shirk my duty even if I have to climb a mountain of daggers or swim through a sea of flames. Red Hair, who was brought into the alley, saw that the other party didn't harm him. For a moment, he couldn't guess their intentions and could only ask in a probing manner. It couldn't be helped. The other party's strength was there for all to see. If he didn't act like a coward now, when would he? Bai Qi couldn't be bothered with Red Hair's fawning and said coldly, "It's very simple. Help us find someone, and after it's done, we'll give you a sum of money. It'll be enough for you to live happily for a few months." Io, you've calculated it. This little brother is best at finding people. Don't worry, great hero, leave it to me. Red Hair couldn't help but be overjoyed when he heard this. He patted his chest and guaranteed. This was a good thing. Who wouldn't be willing to do this kind of easy and non-dangerous thing? After thinking for a moment, Red Hair asked again, "May I know who you're looking for, great hero? Do you have any proof or clues that you can provide?" Bai Qi nodded and took out the portrait. He pointed at the person on it and said, "According to what we know, this person is currently studying at Lon City University. Your mission is to find her and inform us immediately, understand?" Red Hair carefully looked at the portrait. His expression was a little hesitant as he stammered, "Great hero, this is a little difficult. The information you provided is only this portrait? Nothing else? If that's the case, it'll be very difficult to find her. Can you provide me with more detailed information? Don't talk so much nonsense. Knowing too much won't do you any good." Bai Qi glared at Red Hair. Hey, you frowned and asked, "Didn't you just say that finding people is your strong point? Why can't we find them now?" "Don't talk nonsense, we'll pay." "Oh, of course we'll pay, but the problem is, you know how women nowadays are. After they put on makeup, even their own mothers might not recognize them." Red Hair pointed at the portrait again and said, "Also, the girl in this portrait looks quite young. Now that you said she's already in university, she must have changed quite a bit. What if she goes for plastic surgery?" This difficulty, before Red Hair could finish his sentence, Hey you interrupted him. "Then what do you want to do? Can you find her or not? If you can't, just say the word and we'll find someone else immediately." Hey you impatiently waved his hand and said with a sullen face, "Aya, great hero, you can't say it like that. You know, after all, finding someone requires a lot of money. Do you think you can give us an advance payment or something?" Du Rongwei knew Red Hair's personality better, so he simply said it for him, "What if we find the person and you don't want to pay up? How are we going to reason with them?" "Oh, I need money." Hey you suddenly realized and glanced at Red Hair. "You're really something. You should have said it earlier if you wanted money. Why did you say so much nonsense? The people in the secular world are really troublesome." After saying that, He Yu took out a few thick stacks of cash from his bag. It looked like there were more than 100,000 yuan and directly handed it to Red Hair. Here, there's 150,000 yuan. I've already given you the money. You better hurry up and get to work. When we find the person, we'll reward you handsomely. Okay, no problem. We'll go get the people now. Great hero, just wait and see. We definitely won't waste your time. Du Rongwei saw that the money was in his hands and agreed enthusiastically. Then, he hurriedly took out his phone and exchanged contact information with He Yu. Red Hair's expression was a little stiff as he held the large sum of money. He was speechless. He didn't expect to get the money so easily. He originally thought that he would have to spend a lot of effort and make the other party dizzy before he could get the money. In the end, the two of them gave him more than 100,000 yuan. Although he couldn't squander this amount of money for long, at least he didn't have to rely on collecting protection fees for a while. After it was settled, the atmosphere became more harmonious. Red Hair attentively brought them out and said that he wanted to treat them to breakfast. Chapter 9:15. Outside the public restroom near the student market, Xiaochun was standing there waiting for Tian Suruan to come out. He planned to ask her about the two people just now. After waiting for a while, Tian Suruan finally appeared and walked out of the restroom. Xiaochun was about to greet her, but he had just taken a step when he saw the red-haired guy and the two adepts from before walking over, talking and laughing. Tian Suruan, who had been looking left and right carefully, also saw them. She was instantly scared out of her wits, and her face turned pale. She turned around and went back into the women's restroom, refusing to come out no matter what. Xiaochun had no choice but to continue waiting outside the door. Those people happened to pass by Xiaochun and ignored him after glancing at him. The red-haired guy obviously did not recognize him. Instead, he walked away while whispering to the others. Xiaochun did not know if he thought Xiaochun was a pervert who peeped in the women's restroom. However, before Tian Suruan came out, Su Chuxia and Cheng Menjing came over. They were getting a little impatient from waiting, so they directly went to look for Xiaochun and Tian Suru. Under the watchful eyes of the crowd, Xiaochun could not ask any more questions. After Tian Suruan came out, everyone walked back to the school together. On the way back, Tian Suruan's mood was obviously much lower. She looked like she had a lot on her mind and did not speak much. It was rare for her to be silent. Xiaochun originally wanted to ask more questions, but he could not find the opportunity. He could not speak in front of Su Chuxia either, so he could only give up for now and find a chance to ask more in the future. When they reached the school, everyone said their goodbyes. Xiaochun walked into the classroom and glanced at the other people present. He realized that other than Miss Xing and Ling Qianxue who glanced at him and then gathered together to whisper, everyone else was busy with their own things and did not notice his arrival at all. Xiaochun secretly pursed his lips and walked to his usual seat with Cheng Menjing. Student Xiaochun, I don't really understand this question. Can you explain it to me? As soon as Xiaochun sat down, Ling Qianxue intimately leaned over and sat next to him. Xiaochun was stunned for a moment. He looked down and said, "Oh, I don't understand this kind of triangle relationship. You should ask my girlfriend." Hiss. Before Xiaochun could finish his sentence, he suddenly felt a slender hand on his thigh, constantly rubbing and moving closer to his sensitive area. Without looking down, Xiaochun knew that hand belonged to Ling Qianxue. He was taken aback. At the same time, he was puzzled. How could Ling Qianxue be so daring? Aren't you afraid of being seen? Cough cough. Ling Qianxue lightly coughed and lightly tapped on Xiaochun's thigh with her little hand. It was obvious that she was hinting something. After receiving Ling Qianxue's hint, Xiaochun understood. He quietly released his divine sense and scanned behind him. Sure enough, he found that Xing girl was closely staring at him. Xiao Chen finally understood. Ling Qianxue was obviously putting on an act for Xingyu. Hee, student Ling, I'm the best at triangle relationships. I'm also good at all kinds of ambiguous relationships. Do you want to find a chance to try? Xiao Chen put on a lecherous face and grabbed Ling Qianxue's little hand. He kept stroking her smooth skin and made clicking sounds. Hey. Cheng Menjing, who was sitting on the other side of Xiao Chen, also saw this scene. She couldn't help but frown and say, I say, you should at least pay attention to your image. I'm your real girlfriend. When you're flirting with other girls in class, have you ever considered my feelings? Although Cheng Menjing didn't object to Xiao Chen and Ling Qianxue's intimate actions, she felt that they should at least look at the occasion, right? Not to mention that she, the Empress, was still by their side. Right now, it was class time. Not only were they not paying attention in class, but they were also touching each other. Wasn't this a bit too arrogant? Behind, that ladyboy is watching. Xiao Chen's hands didn't stop. He secretly glanced at Cheng Menjing and said softly. Oh. Cheng Menjing wasn't stupid. Instead, she was very quick-witted. Seeing this, she also released her divine sense to check. When she found that it was exactly as Xiao Chen said, she snorted and turned around, ignoring the two of them. Xing girl, who was sitting in the back, saw Xiao Yi's perverted look and was a bit puzzled. Logically speaking, Xiao Chen shouldn't be such a pervert. Could it be that this guy really wasn't Xiao Chen? Cheng Yaoyao's reaction was also very strange. If it was Cheng Menjing, she wasn't the type of person who would swallow her anger and let Xiao Chen do whatever he wanted. However, this Cheng Yaoyao in front of her was actually unmoved. She allowed her boyfriend to be intimate with other people. It was really unbelievable. Hey, what's going on? It's so annoying. Xing girl watched for a while, but she really couldn't see through it. She couldn't figure it out, so she was too lazy to think about it. She raised her hand and told the teacher that she was going to the toilet. Then, she left the classroom. No one knew what she was going to do. Xing girl had already left, but Xiao Chen and Ling Qianxue's hands were still under the table. They didn't let go. Ling Qianxue actually quite enjoyed this sweet feeling. She was trained by the Cherry Blossom Group to be a killing tool since she was young. In her mind, there was only the thought of being loyal to the organization. She didn't have feelings for other people, and she had never been in a relationship. Ever since she had a boyfriend like Xiao Chen, her spirit was greatly satisfied. She had a feeling that she never had before. It was as if a certain empty place in her heart was filled. As for Xiao Chen, he gently held Ling Qianxue's small hand. The feeling was also very subtle. It was like the days when he lived with Shen Jingxian, but it was mixed with a different school atmosphere. Xiao Chen felt as if he was in a state between jogging and warming up. The only thing he could be sure of was that he quite liked this kind of sneaky feeling. Cough cough cough. On the side, Cheng Menjing couldn't stand it anymore. She coughed a few times and said indifferently, both of you, she has already gone out. Why are you still holding hands so tightly? Only then did Ling Qianxue remember that Cheng Menjing was still watching from the side. Suddenly, her cheeks turned red. She pulled out her hand helplessly. For a moment, she didn't know what to say. She lowered her head like an ostrich and almost stuffed it into the drawer. Ling Qianxue, who was still immersed in the sweetness, began to let her imagination run wild again. She felt that she actually felt sorry for Cheng Menjing. After all, she was Xiao Chen's real girlfriend, and she was shamelessly offering herself to him halfway. In the end, not only did she give her first time to Xiao Chen, but now she seemed to have the intention of snatching his wife. It was a bit unreasonable. We were also afraid that she would come back and attack us. Xiao Chen came back to his senses and laughed dryly. His expression was a bit awkward. Chapter 9:16. Ignoring Xiao Chen, Cheng Menjing saw that Ling Qinshue's expression was ashamed and guilty. She was afraid that Ling Qinsue would think too much, so she said, "It's class time now. Pay attention to your image. Let's go get a room at night. You two can continue touching if you want." Ah. Ling Qinsue didn't expect Cheng Menjing to say this at all. She was even more embarrassed. Her face was as red as a ripe apple, and she wanted to dig a hole to hide in. Miss, why did you suddenly become so unrestrained? Xiao Chen was a little surprised. He subconsciously reached out to touch Cheng Menjing's forehead, wanting to see if she had a fever. How could Cheng Menjing, who had always been jealous, be like this? Go to hell. Cheng Menjing was so angry that she directly reached out and pinched the soft flesh on Xiao Chen's waist. Ouch! Caught off guard, Xiao Chen screamed in pain, attracting the attention of everyone in the classroom. Xiao Yi. You're crying like a ghost and howling like a wolf during class. Go stand in the hallway as punishment. Professor Zhong pushed the glasses on the bridge of his nose and glared at Xiao Chen with a face full of anger. Okay. Xiao Chen opened his mouth, but he didn't know how to explain. He could only helplessly stand up and walk out. This was the second time he was punished by Professor Zhong. He was simply too unlucky. You deserve it. Let's see if you dare to say bad things about me next time. Cheng Menjing smiled as she watched Xiao Chen walk out of the classroom. She felt very relieved. Then, she moved her body in Ling Qinshue's direction, and the two began to whisper between women. When he came to the hallway, Xiao Chen was bored. Suddenly, he found that Chick Xing was hiding in a corner not far away. She had a sneaky look, and her phone was stuck to her ear as if she was talking to someone on the phone. Xiao Chen's heart skipped a beat. Who is this chick reporting to? His expression did not change, but he secretly released his divine sense, trying to eavesdrop. Elder son, I ran into some trouble here. I can't confirm whether that Xiao Yi is Xiao Chen or not. I can only find a chance to probe further. I wonder if you have any news of Ma Lanzhao? Little Miss Xing didn't seem to notice anything and respectfully asked the other side of the phone. Since she couldn't confirm Xiao Chen's identity, Xing thought of another method, which was to keep an eye on Ma Wanzhao. As long as she followed Ma Wanzhao, she wouldn't have to worry about him harming Xiao Chen. However, ever since she injured Ma Baixia in Songning, this guy suddenly disappeared from the face of the earth. Little Miss Xing really had no choice but to seek help from Elder Sun to see if there was any news of him in the sect. Don't mention it. That damned Ma Buzhao, I don't know where he's hiding, not even a shadow can be seen. Maybe he died on the way back to the Kuei Mountain sect. Elder Sun was full of anger at the mention of Ma Buzhao. As a vassal of Awakening Heaven's sect, he actually dared to play disappearing with him. Actually, Elder Ma didn't know that after Ma Buzhao was seriously injured, he quietly hid and secretly treated his injuries. He was afraid that leaking the news would attract his enemies, so he didn't release any information to the outside world. He didn't even report to his backer, Awakening Heaven's sect. He only gave some simple instructions to a few confidants of the Kuei Mountain sect and went into seclusion. Then what should we do? Currently, Ma Buzhao's whereabouts are unknown, and Xiao Chen's identity can't be confirmed either. Like this, my mission will be very difficult to carry out. Little Miss Xing had a headache. This situation made her feel a little helpless. How about this, you keep an eye on that Xiao Yi for now. I'll send more people to continue to investigate Ma Buzhao's whereabouts. That kid really can't do anything right, but he's good at spoiling things. I'm so angry. Elder Sun got angrier as he spoke, and couldn't help but curse angrily. Alright, I understand. Little Miss Xing nodded helplessly and agreed. She hung up the phone and put it in her pocket. She looked around to make sure that no one was watching them before hurrying back to the classroom. Xiao Chen stood there and listened for a long time, but he didn't hear any good news. He only knew that Ma Buzhao was missing, but he didn't know whether the situation was good or bad. The bell rang. At this time, it was time for class to end. Professor Zhong walked out of the classroom with his lecture notes. He couldn't be bothered to care that Xiao Chen was still standing there as punishment. He directly treated him as heir and walked away. Xiao Yi, see you in the cafeteria later. Xiao Chen was stretching his arms and legs when he saw Jia Muzhen running out from the back door. He shouted to him and then ran in the direction of the cafeteria without looking back. What? Hearing Jia Muzhen's words, Xiao Chen suddenly felt a little inexplicable. He was about to chase after Jia Muzhen to ask the reason, but Qing Menjing came out with Ling Qianxue and said to Xiao Chen, Jia Muzhen just said that he wanted to invite all the members of the martial arts club to the cafeteria for a big meal. He ran to the second floor to set the location. Let's go together. Treat to a big meal? Did he pick up a money bag or buy a lottery ticket? Why does he suddenly want to treat everyone to a meal? Xiao Chen scratched his head and followed. He was very puzzled. There didn't seem to be anything worth celebrating recently. Cheng Menjing said while walking, "Oh, it is said that the martial arts club has recently found a new venue, and they can officially start to recruit students. Also, Wang Zhengtian's medical expenses have been settled. Jia Muzhen thinks this is a great thing, so he wants to have a good meal to celebrate." Although Cheng Menjing also didn't think there was anything to celebrate, she repeated what Jia Muzhen said just now. Some time ago, there was a rumor that the vice president of the martial arts club, Wang Zhengtian, was seriously injured by the president of the karate club, Du Rongwei, and his men. Because of this, the reputation of the martial arts club plummeted. It wasn't very popular in the first place, and after this rumor spread, no one cared about it. The two original members all wanted to quit. If it weren't for Dong Zhiqi and Jia Muzhen's earnest persuasion, the two might have already quit the club and joined another club. Because of this, the martial arts club encountered the biggest crisis in its history. In addition to the imminent crisis of the martial arts club, Wang Zhengtian's treatment at the first hospital of Lan City was also a big problem. Wang Zhengtian didn't have much savings, and Jia Muzhen paid for his medical expenses. However, the high daily expenses were still a bit too much for Jia Muzhen. Originally, Dong Zhiqi wanted to ask the school to make an exception, but he didn't expect the school to simply give Du Rongwei a verbal warning and ignore the matter, leaving Wang Zhengtian to fend for himself. However, this situation didn't last long. A few days later, Xiao Chen and Cheng Menjing went together to trample on the red-haired guy's karate dojo and taught him a lesson. The next day, Du Rongwei brought the karate dojo's lease and a considerable amount of medical fees to Dong Zhiqi and Jia Muzhen. He even bowed and said a lot of good things. Although the two of them felt that it was strange, since there was a sucker that came knocking on their door, they still accepted it. Chapter 9:17. This rumor also spread like wildfire. Originally, many people were still doubting whether the martial arts club was really that powerful. However, when they went to the student market and saw the notice that the martial arts club hung in front of the training hall, they finally believed that the rumor was not groundless. After the rumor was confirmed, the martial arts club's popularity began to recover. More and more new members signed up, and the rumor that the martial arts club was no match for the karate club was also dispelled. In addition, Du Rongwei had paid a high fee, enough to cover Wang Zhengtian's medical fees in the hospital. Jia Muzhen let out a sigh of relief when he found out that these two matters were settled. The gloominess in his heart was swept away. Therefore, he decided to treat everyone to a big meal to celebrate, and also to plan for the future development of the martial arts club. Xiao Yi, you're all here. Huh? Why isn't Xing Gongzi here? Jia Muzhen saw Xiao Chen walk up, so he looked back and asked casually. Don't know where he went, maybe he fell into the toilet. Xiao Chen held Ling Qianxue's hand in one hand, and Cheng Menjing's hand in the other, and said casually. Is that so? Holy sh*t. Ahem. Xiao Chen, your relationship seems to be. Jia Musen retracted his gaze, and just happened to see Ling Qianxue and Xiao Chen's intimate appearance. He couldn't help but be shocked, and couldn't even speak clearly. Xiao Chen saw Jia Musen staring at his and Ling Qianxue's hands, so he raised his hand and said, as the saying goes, a good bird chooses a good tree to nest in. Ling Xiaoxue has already kicked out that Xing thing. From now on, she will follow me and enjoy a beautiful and happy life. F***CKU. What do you mean by a good bird? Do you think Ling Xiaoxue and I are birds? Cheng Menjing glared at Xiao Chen, and then turned to Ling Qianxue and said, Xiaoxue, ignore him. This guy is not serious, he just likes to talk nonsense. No. It's nothing. Ling Qianxue's face was a little red, and she was a little embarrassed. She didn't expect Xiao Chen to be so direct. She was surprised, touched, and a little sweet. Brother Xiao Yi, you're really awesome. It's only been a few days, and she's already catching up to our class belle. Moreover, it seems that the two of you are getting along very well. This little brother truly admires you. Jia Musen involuntarily gave a thumbs up and sighed with an envious expression. Just then, footsteps could be heard from the second floor. It was Tian Suruan and Su Chuxia. Xiao Chen's voice wasn't soft just now, so the two of them happened to hear what he said. Su Chuxia didn't have much of a reaction, but Tian Suruan's eyes widened. She rushed up to Xiao Chen and sized him up in disbelief. Ling Qianxue knew Tian Suru. She had seen her when she was dealing with Su Chuxia. Now that Tian Suruan had suddenly appeared, Ling Qianxue was a little curious as to why this person was here. However, she didn't ask too much. In any case, this was no longer the Ling Qianxue of the past, and she didn't want to pry too much. What are you looking at? Is there something on my face? Xiao Chen couldn't help but ask when he saw that Tian Soran couldn't stop looking. Xiao Yi, you brat, not bad. You actually blocked someone else's shot. Tian Suruan heavily patted Xiao Chen's shoulder and shouted with a look of surprise. What do you mean? I don't even know how to play basketball. Who did I block? Xiao Chen was a little puzzled. He had no idea what Tian Suruan was talking about. Of course I'm trying to make your band Xing Gongzi a cuckold. Tian Suruan clicked her tongue and exclaimed, Sister Suruan, I really couldn't tell. I didn't expect you to be so awesome. You're practically a loser goddess in novels. Tian Suruan had heard about the boyfriend and girlfriend relationship between Xing Gongzi and Ling Xiaoxue when she was chatting with Jia Musen. However, Tian Suruan never expected that Xiao Yi, who looked like a loser, would actually be able to successfully make a comeback and win the beauty. Most importantly, Xiao Yi's real girlfriend, Cheng Yaoyao, who was standing next to him, didn't seem to object. This made everyone's jaws drop. Could it be that Xiao Yi had some kind of trick to control women? Oh, for a guy like me who is loved by everyone, it's a piece of cake for me to conquer a goddess. You better be careful, miser Suruan. My next target is you. Xiao Chen shrugged and looked at Tian Suruan with a sneaky smile. Pfft. You want to conquer Sister Suruan? Do you have a sports car? Do you have a villa and a private yacht? Tian Suruan puffed out her chest and said disapprovingly, a poor loser like you can't control Sister Suruan's aura. So don't even think about it. Let me tell you, Sister Suruan isn't as short-sighted as some people. When she said, some people, Tian Suruan glanced at Cheng Yaoyao, her eyes full of disdain. From her point of view, Cheng Yaoyao was not only defenseless against Xiao Yi's blatant flirting, but she also accepted it calmly. She would be abandoned sooner or later. You. Cheng Menjing didn't expect to be attacked even though she was lying down. She was so angry that she couldn't speak. All she could do was glare at Tian Suruan and retaliate. Come on, don't forget the pain. Who was the one who crawled under the table this morning? And I think you were so scared that you peed yourself and went to the toilet. Xiao Chen naturally wanted to protect his miss, so he joked. Tian Suruan's face changed. She was angry when she thought about what happened this morning. Her whereabouts were almost exposed, and she even crawled under the table in front of everyone. She was forced to use her pee escape technique. This was her humiliation. Tian Suruan turned around and glared at Jia Muzhen. She gritted her teeth and said, "Hey! Four Eyes, let's not beat around the bush. Tell me the truth. Was it you who told on me? Let me tell you, Sister Suruan isn't someone to be trifled with. Worst comes to worst, we'll just have a showdown and fight to the death." You? What are you talking about? Jia Muzhen was startled by Tian Suruan's gaze. He was confused by what he heard, so he blinked innocently and asked. He really didn't understand. Tian Suruan was just talking to Xiao Chen. Why did she suddenly drag him into this? Stop playing dumb with me. Tell me, are you from the Jia family? And when you saw Sister Suruan, you tipped them off, am I right? Tian Suruan pointed at Jia Muzhen and asked aggressively. I'm from the Jia family. Is there a problem? Jia Muzhen was even more confused. His head was full of question marks. This wasn't the first day that Tian Suruan knew him. Why was she asking such irrelevant questions? See, you admit it, right? Sister Suruan isn't that easy to fool. Don't think that you can fool me. Tian Suruan was overjoyed and said proudly. Chapter 9:18. What did I admit? Jia Muzhen was speechless. He patiently explained, why would I lie to you? My surname is Jia. Isn't that a member of the Jia family? How did I lie to you? Jia Muzhen was confused. He could not figure out what Tian Suruan was trying to do. Humph. You still dare to say no? If it wasn't for you, why would they come to Lancheng University? Tian Suruan snorted and questioned relentlessly. This. Jia Muzhen opened his mouth but couldn't find the words to continue. Tian Suruan said that he was a snitch, and then he said that someone had come to Lancheng University. He was so confused that he didn't know how to answer. He also didn't know what snitch Tian Suruan was talking about. When Xiao Chen, who was at the side, heard this, he could basically guess what had happened. Tian Suruan suspected that Jia Muzhen had told on her, which was why the two martial artists in the morning were looking for her. That was why she was so anxious to question Jia Muzhen. From the looks of it, Xiao Chen felt that the whole thing had nothing to do with him. He was worried that the two people were sent by Ma Baizhu to capture Tian Suruan as a hostage or for some other purpose. After all, everyone knew that Tian Suruan was Xiao Chang's girlfriend. However, it seemed that was not the case. The two people were just looking for Tian Suruan. However, Xiao Chen couldn't just ignore it. After all, Tian Suruan and Su Chuxia were his friends. Since Suruan was involved in this matter, he had to help if he had the ability to. Seeing Jia Muzhen's troubled expression, Xiao Chen interjected and mediated, "Miser, I don't think Jia Muzhen is that kind of person. I know what you mean, but he really doesn't seem to know anything. Stop asking. You. What do you know?" Tian Suruan's expression changed. She turned her head and stared at Xiao Chen nervously. The two people from this morning, they should be with Jia. Before Xiao Chen could finish, Tian Suruan grabbed him and dragged him to the cafeteria door downstairs. As she walked, she muttered, "Come out with Sister Suruan. It's not convenient to talk here." Xiaochen didn't expect Tian Suruan to make a move just like that. He smiled bitterly and gestured to Cheng Menjing and the rest, indicating that it was fine. Then, he followed Tian Suruan out. The two of them came to a secluded corner at the side of the cafeteria. Tian Suruan first looked around for a while to make sure that Jia Muzhen didn't follow them and that no one was staring at them. Only then did he cautiously look at Xiaochen and asked, "Speak. What do you know? Are you afraid that someone will find you? For example, the two people in the morning, right?" Xiaochen could not be bothered to beat around the bush anymore, so he asked directly without any hesitation. "Oh? You can tell?" Tian Suruan was a little surprised. "I didn't expect you to be so observant other than picking up girls and masturbating." "How can I pick up girls if I don't have observational skills?" Xiaochen looked at Tian Suruan in annoyance. This little girl was unforgiving with her words. Even at this point, she still didn't forget to make sarcastic remarks. However, Xiaochen didn't intend to bicker with her. Instead, he analyzed the situation in an orderly manner. "According to my observation, it shouldn't be Jia Muzhen who snitched on you. First of all, he isn't the kind of person who has a bad mouth. Secondly, even if he did snitch on you, it wouldn't do him any good, right? So, you shouldn't keep harping on this. That might not be true." Tian Suruan pouted and said, "The two people in the morning were from the Jia family. Sister Suruan has seen them before. Moreover, he's the only one with the surname Jia. Who else could it be other than him?" "What? They are from the Jia family?" Xiaochen was stunned. He finally understood why Tian Suruan had her eyes on Jia Muzhen. So this was the reason. "Do you believe me now?" Tian Suruan patted Xiaochen's shoulder and said with a brotherly expression, "I don't think you have any bad intentions. I said this morning that I'll help Sister Suruan find out something. Do you agree? When it's done, Sister Suruan will reward you handsomely." "What handsomely? Don't tell me it's something like underwear or panties. You saw it just now. I've already conquered such a beautiful goddess. I don't care about your messy little things." Xiaochen said half-jokingly. Can you be considerate of Sister Suruan? Actually, Sister Suruan is very tight on money now. At most, I'll treat you to breakfast again," Tian Suruan said with a pained expression. Today's breakfast had been eaten by Xiaochen. Tian Suruan mourned for her wallet for a long time. It wasn't easy for her to recover. "All right then. If that's the case, I'll help you find out." Xiaochen didn't plan on being calculative. He was just joking with Tian Suruan. He had thought that Tian Suruan was fooling around. Now that he saw it, she was indeed in big trouble. As a friend, it was understandable for him to help her out. "That's Sister Suruan's good buddy. How about I get you a pair of Su Chuxia's panties as a form of encouragement? I heard that if some people wear a beauty's panties on their heads in battle, they can increase their strength." Tian Suruan was overjoyed. She couldn't help but speak presumptuously. "Pfft!" Xiaochen almost spat. Tian Suruan's true nature was exposed in just 3 sentences. He said angrily, "You'd better stop reading those useless comics. If there's really such a powerful guy, he must be a pervert." "Ha ha ha. So, you've read that comic too? Looks like you're not a normal person." Tian Suruan was in a good mood. She patted Xiaochen's shoulder teasingly and walked to the cafeteria with him. Along the way, she kept teasing Xiaochen. Xiaochen was speechless. When they returned to the cafeteria, everyone was already seated in the private room. They had ordered and started eating. When Jia Muzhen saw the two of them, she didn't ask any questions. She immediately invited them to sit down and eat. The others naturally didn't say much, and the topic was left unsettled. Although Xiao Chun believed in Jia Muzin's character, he still secretly released his divine sense to observe Jia Muzin's expression during the meal. He found that Jia Muzin was still as calm as ever. He didn't notice anything special. After lunch, everyone went their separate ways. As there were no classes in the afternoon, Xiao Chun asked Cheng Menjing to take Ling Qianxue to the hotel to get a room. He didn't follow them. Instead, he turned around and walked back to the dormitory. After all, it would be too eye-catching if the three of them entered and exited the campus together. If word got out, it wouldn't be good for the two girls' reputations. Xiao Chun actually had another plan. He wanted to go back to the dormitory with Jia Muzin, pretend to get something, and chat to see if he could get any information. Chapter 9:19. On the way back to the dormitory, Xiao Chun was still thinking about how to ask. He didn't expect Jia Muzin to speak first. Xiao Yi, I really couldn't tell. You actually dared to lay your hands on Ling Xiaoxue. Aren't you afraid that Xing Gongzi will come after you? Oh, it's no big deal. If he dares to provoke me, I'll beat him up. Xiao Chun waved his fist in the air and changed the topic. By the way, you're a martial artist, right? I heard that martial artists all have some special abilities. How about you teach me a few? It'll be good for me to learn. Huh? Jia Muzin was slightly stunned. He looked at Xiao Chun strangely and said, Why are you asking this too? Did Tian Soran tell you that? Don't listen to her nonsense. This chick is a little crazy and will do whatever she wants. It has something to do with her, but I also want to ask myself. When I first decided to apply for the ancient martial arts major, other than my hobby, I actually wanted to meet some martial artists. Xiao Chun said nonsense with a serious face. Brother, it's not that I want to deceive you or scare you, but there are some things that you know too much about. It's not good for you. I treat you as my good friend and good brother, so I don't want to tell you. This is also to protect your safety, lest you be harmed by others. Jia Muzin believed it to be true and said with a serious face. Listening to Jia Muzin's tone, Xiao Chun roughly guessed that this guy was most likely related to martial arts, so he didn't probe further and asked directly, Are you from the inner martial arts world or the outer martial arts world? Jia Muzin almost jumped up. With a surprised expression, he looked at Xiao Chun with some vigilance and asked, You? Who did you hear this from? Is it Tian Suruan? In Jia Muzin's view, Xiao Yi and Cheng Yaoyao were both from the secular world, so they shouldn't know much about martial arts sections. Many people even lived their whole lives and never heard of the inner martial arts world and the outer martial arts world. Now, Xiao Chun blurted out these two terms so familiarly. If he was not related to people in Wulin, then he must have heard it from someone else. No. Didn't I tell you just now? I have friends who are also martial artists, so I know a little, Xiao Chun explained. Oh, no wonder. So you know. Then there's no harm in telling you. Jia Muzin nodded, not suspecting anything. Instead, he gave a simple introduction. I am indeed a member of an inner martial arts clan, but I'm not a direct descendant. That's why Tian Soran has been asking me those questions over and over again, but I haven't said anything. That's because I don't know what she's up to. Just in case, it's better to play dumb. I see. Xiao Chun finally understood the ins and outs of the matter. He smiled and explained for Tian Soran, Tian Soran actually doesn't have any bad intentions. She may look careless, but she's a girl with a strong sense of self-protection. Maybe your appearance made her feel threatened, so she kept asking about your family background. Don't mind her. Xiao Chun had lived with Tian Soran for a long time, so he knew this girl's character quite well. Is that so? It's really strange. How can I threaten her? You applied for the ancient martial arts major out of interest, so it's normal for you to have some understanding of Wulin. But how did Tian Soran know about it? Logically speaking, ordinary people don't know much about Wulin. Moreover, even if they knew, I wouldn't be able to threaten her, right? Jia Muzin said with a puzzled expression. Could it be that your Jia family and Tian family have some grudges? This morning, when I was outside the school gate, I saw 2 Wulin people dressed in ancient costumes. They were holding Tian Suran's portrait and questioning her one by one. Later, I heard from Soran that they were from your Jia family. That's why she would. Xiaochen thought for a while and simply told him what had happened in the morning. Since Jia Muzin had already revealed his identity, Xiaochen felt that there was no need to hide it anymore. It was better to take this opportunity to lay the matter out in the open. After all, Xiaochen also didn't believe that Jia Muzin was the one who leaked the information. Tian family? Jia Muzin was stunned after hearing that. After thinking hard for a long time, he suddenly frowned and shook his head, saying, "No. Did you remember wrongly? There's no Tian family in the Wulin." It can't be. Xiaochen was also stunned. He thought to himself, could it be that I guessed wrong? Tian Soran isn't from the Wulin? Could it be that her family is from the Wulin? How could it be related to the Jia family of the Wulin? Wait. The Jia family sent people to the secular world to find Tian Soran. This. Jia Muzin was lost in thought as he walked. He almost bumped into a telephone pole. Fortunately, Xiaochen pulled him back. He didn't know whether to laugh or cry. I seem to understand now. Jia Muzin suddenly cheered. He didn't notice the critical accident just now. He turned his head and asked Xiaochen, is Tian Soran from the Tang family of the Wulin? If so, everything makes sense. Tang family? Xiaochen was stunned. Tang's figure suddenly appeared in his mind. It turned out that there was also a Tang family in the Wulin. Was there any connection between them and the Tang family in the secular world? If that was the case, then could it be that Tang had gone to the Wulin when she suddenly disappeared without saying goodbye? This sudden thought shook Xiaochen's mind. In fact, to a certain extent, Xiaochen's feelings for Tang were deeper than any other woman. After all, when he was in dire straits back then, it was all thanks to Tang who helped him wholeheartedly. Otherwise, Xiaochen would not even be able to afford a body-tempering pill, let alone achieve what he had today. Just as Xiaochen was lost in his thoughts, Jia Muzin's voice interrupted his train of thought. I don't know Tian Suru, but I know that my cousin's fiancée's name is Tang Surujiao. However, she disappeared many years ago. Could it be that the Jia family has come to Lanqing University to find her? Jia Muzin's expression was a little uncertain. After he finished speaking, he rubbed his chin and continued to ponder, as if he was trying hard to remember something. What? Tang Soran? What kind of weird name is that? Don't tell me she has an elder sister or younger sister called Tang Triangle? Xiaochen was suddenly speechless. He didn't know whether to laugh or cry. However, thinking back, the name Tian Soran didn't seem to be any better. According to Jia Muzin's speculation, if this was really the case, then everything made sense. No wonder Tian Soran was so afraid when he saw those martial artists. If he was caught, would he have a good ending? Thinking about it, even if Tian Soran was a member of the Tang family of the Wulin, he would definitely change his name after escaping. Wasn't he the same? One moment he was called Xiao Chang, the next moment he was called Xiao Yi. It was not strange that Tang Soran changed his name to Tian Soran. Chapter 920. I'm not sure what her sister's name is. Jia Muzin murmured. Suddenly, his eyes lit up. He slapped his thigh and said, that's right, I remember now. I met Tang Surjiao at the Jia family. No wonder Tian Surjiao looked familiar the first time I saw her in the cafeteria. Now it seems like it's her. Then, what do you plan to do? Xiao Chen stared at Jia Muzhen with some vigilance and asked tentatively. If Jia Muzhen chose to inform the family, it would be reasonable. Xiao Chen couldn't kill him because of this, right? However, Tian Surjiao would definitely be threatened by this. He had to let this girl know and let her be prepared, lest she fell into the tiger's mouth. Don't worry. Jia Muzhen seemed to know what Xiao Chen was worried about. He smiled and waved his hand. With a nonchalant face, he said, I won't tell anyone. My relationship with my cousin isn't that good, and I don't like to meddle in other people's business. Although he said that, the moment Jia Muzhen put his hand down, Xiao Chen caught a flash of deep unwillingness in his eyes. Although he saw it, Xiao Chen didn't ask much. He just patted his shoulder in understanding and said, the family is big, and there are more things to worry about. I can understand. It's nothing. I'm already used to it. Jia Muzhen shrugged and looked a little helpless. Suddenly, he thought of something and said to Xiao Chen, oh right, go talk to Tian Surjiao. I won't say anything, and she doesn't need to be on tenterhooks all day. If she meets those two again, just hide far away and don't get discovered. Okay. Xiao Chen nodded. He could tell that Jia Muzhen was unwilling to talk too much about his family, so he didn't continue to pursue the matter. Instead, they chatted about games, basketball, and the like with Jia Muzhen. They also discussed the beauties in school. In short, it was a topic that men liked to discuss when they got together. Finally, Jia Muzhen's mood gradually changed. On the other side, Cheng Menjing and Ling Qianxue arrived at the Express Hotel together. When they were about to check in, they found that all the rooms were full. The two of them looked at each other. Was it written on the almanac that they should get a room? Usually, it would only be full on weekends. How strange. However, it was Cheng Menjing who reacted first. Today was Tuesday. Lancheng University had a unique characteristic. There were no classes scheduled on Tuesday afternoons, so many student couples had already booked rooms. Although the entertainment facilities around Lancheng University were relatively complete with a cinema, KTV, restaurants, and a large student market, there was only one motel that was slightly better. Small hotels and daily rentals could be found everywhere, but Cheng Menjing didn't think it was hygienic, so she never considered it. Helplessly, they could only turn around and go back. The two separated at the female dormitory. Ling Qianxue went to report to young Master Xing, while Cheng Menjing went upstairs alone. Qianyu, are you there? I brought you some delicious snacks. Walking into the dormitory, Cheng Menjing knocked on Ling Qianyu's door and asked. Although she had been with Xiao Chen recently, Cheng Menjing hadn't forgotten about Ling Qianyu. She bought a lot of snacks on the way back just now, hoping to get closer to Ling Qianyu. With a click, Ling Qianyu opened her room door. She still lived in the inner room, while Cheng Menjing lived in the outer room. She received the snacks with some surprise. Thank you. You're welcome. Cheng Menjing said with a smile. From the corner of her eyes, she saw the clothes that Ling Qianyu had just collected spread out on the bed. Only then did she realize that the sky had darkened a little, and there were signs of rain. Aya! My clothes are still drying. Cheng Menjing cried out in surprise. She turned around and ran to the balcony, hurriedly putting away the clothes. Ling Qianyu also followed over. Her expression was a little hesitant. After hesitating for a moment, she bit her lower lip and asked, Yao Yao. The girl who came back with you just now is quite pretty. Is she a new student this year? Previously, when Ling Qianyu was putting away the clothes, she just happened to see Cheng Menjing and another girl walking side by side down the dormitory. The figure seemed a little familiar. After taking a closer look, she realized that it was actually Ling Qianxue. Yes. Right, her name is Ling Xiaoxue, similar to your name. I often mix up your names. Cheng Menjing answered with a smile as she put away the clothes. She didn't know the relationship between Ling Qianxue and Ling Qianyu, so she didn't pay much attention to Ling Qianyu's expression. She thought that the other was just curious. You? How do you know her? What is she doing at Lanqing University? Ling Qianyu was a little nervous and even stuttered as she asked. Recalling how Ling Qianxue easily sneaked into her dormitory, Ling Qianyu still felt a little scared. If it wasn't for Xiaochen at that time, she might have been kidnapped by Ling Qianxue. Although Ling Qianyu already knew that Ling Qianxue was her biological sister, all signs showed that Ling Qianxue was still on Yorishima Kikuo's side, so she had to be cautious. Ling Qianyu changed her mind and was a little puzzled. Why didn't Grandpa ask Xiao Chen to protect her this time? Didn't Grandpa know that Ling Qianxue had come to Lanqing University? Actually, when Ling Qianxue came into contact with Cheng Yaoyao, she subconsciously thought that it was because of her. So she thought that she should call Grandpa and ask him to send Xiao Chen over again. With Xiao Chen around, she would be relatively safe. Huh? Why did she suddenly start thinking about Xiao Chen again? Could it be that she has a good impression of him? No. That's definitely not the case. I just feel that he's a little more powerful than the others. With him around, I feel more at ease. That's it. I don't like him at all. With his cold personality, only a ghost would like him. Humph. Ling Qianyu stood there, her expression alternating between nervousness and worry. Hesitation, struggle, stubbornness, and other emotions repeatedly appeared on her face. Luckily, Cheng Menjing was putting away the clothes behind her back, or else she would have been shocked. Ling Qianxue is also studying ancient martial arts. We are classmates. Just now, after lunch, we made an appointment to go shopping. After shopping, we came back together. Cheng Menjing finished putting away the clothes, opened a bag of chips and ate it. She mumbled as she ate. She didn't want to lie to Ling Qianyu, but she couldn't just say that she wanted to get a room with Ling Qianxue, right? She also came here to study? And to be in the same class as you? This. Ling Qianyu suddenly panicked. Her face turned pale, and she didn't know what to say for a moment. How could Ling Qianxue come to study? There must be something wrong. And she purposely used a fake name and coincidentally became friends with Cheng Yaoyao. There must be some conspiracy. That's right. Cheng Menjing nodded. She finally noticed that Ling Qianyu's expression was a little strange. She stood up and asked with concern, "Qianyu, why are you sweating so much? Is the temperature of the air conditioner too high?" Chapter 921. I'm fine. Maybe I'm too tired from putting away the clothes. Looking at Cheng Menjing adjusting the temperature, Ling Qianyu kept rubbing the corner of her clothes to calm herself down. She asked, "Yaoyao, did Ling Xiaoxue ask you anything? Or say something strange?" "No, she's very enthusiastic and kind. She often asks me questions. I'll introduce you guys to her someday, and then the three of us can go out and play together." Cheng Menjing blinked. She was a little puzzled. She always felt that Ling Qianyu was a little strange. She seemed to be very interested in Ling Xiaoxue. "No, I mean, how should I say it? Oh, actually, I just wanted to ask if she had, that." Ling Qianyu was so anxious that she was sweating, but she couldn't say it directly. What? Cheng Menjing was confused. She didn't understand what Ling Qianyu meant at all. She could only answer a few questions that she understood. Just then, Cheng Menjing's phone rang. It was Xiao Chen, so she picked it up. "Miss, which room are you in? Why didn't I find your names at the front desk?" Xiao Chen asked. After he finished talking with Jia Muzhen, he went to the hotel to find Cheng Menjing and Ling Xiaoxue. However, he couldn't find them at the front desk. "Oh, I forgot to tell you. The hotel is full, so Ling Xiaoxue and I came back. We just arrived at the dorm." Cheng Menjing was eating potato chips. Her hands were greasy, so she used her shoulder to hold the phone. Xiao Chen said, "Looks like I can't get a room with you today. I'll go find you later. Let's go out for dinner tonight." Xiao Chen's voice wasn't loud, but Cheng Menjing's chin accidentally touched the hands-free button as she held her phone between her shoulders. As a result, Xiao Chen's words were played, and Ling Qianyu heard everything clearly. Come over first." Cheng Menjing was extremely embarrassed. She glanced at Ling Qianyu in embarrassment and hung up the phone without even wiping her hands. Xiao Chen looked at the phone that was quickly hung up and felt a little depressed. What's wrong with the missy? He hung up before he could say anything. Could it be that he was changing his clothes? In the dormitory, the atmosphere suddenly became subtle. Cheng Menjing silently chewed potato chips and didn't know what to say. After Xiao Chen said that, she couldn't explain at all. Ling Qianyu, on the other hand, looked at her in shock, wondering if there was something wrong with her ears. That. Yao Yao, did I hear it wrong? The three of you are going to a hotel, to get a room? The two of them stared at each other for a long time before Ling Qianyu finally broke the silence. Ling Qianyu was indeed shocked. In her mind, Xiao Yi was just a loser. He actually managed to get Ling Qianxue. Wasn't Rin Qianxue a ninja from Japan? Why would he fall in love with an ordinary student? And he even went to get a room with him? This was simply unbelievable. What was going on? What was even more surprising was, why did Cheng Yaoyao agree to it? The three of them actually went to get a room together? Yes, you didn't hear it wrong. We are indeed going to get a room. Cheng Menjing helplessly put down the potato chips and nodded. After all, she accidentally pressed the wrong button. There was no point in trying to cover it up. Aren't you and Xiao Yi boyfriend and girlfriend? Why did you agree to Ling Xiaoxue's involvement? Did she grab hold of your weakness and use it to threaten you? Ling Qianyu was puzzled. From her point of view, although Cheng Yaoyao looked ordinary, there was no need for her to do this. Which woman would like to share a man with another woman? Could there be some inside story behind all this? Moreover, if Ling Qianxue really grabbed hold of Cheng Yaoyao's weakness and threatened her to share a man, then would Cheng Yaoyao secretly help her in the future and harm her? After all, she and Cheng Yaoyao lived in the same dormitory. If Cheng Yaoyao wanted to make a move, she could do it at any time. It's not as serious as you say. Actually, in the middle, some things happened. I couldn't do anything about it. That's why this situation happened. Cheng Menjing waved her hand and explained helplessly. That's not necessarily true. I think that Ling Xiaoxue played a trick and purposely made things difficult for us. She's not as good as you think. Before. Ling Qianyu suddenly stopped. Maybe she realized that she had said something wrong and quickly turned her head away. Although Cheng Yaoyao was her roommate, Ling Qianyu didn't plan to tell her everything. After all, the two of them weren't close enough to talk about everything. Also, what if Cheng Yaoyao was already taken over by Ling Qianxue and turned around to harm her? Before? What about before? Qianyu, you seem to have a prejudice against Xiaoxue. Did you guys know each other before? Although Ling Qianyu only said half of her sentence, Cheng Menjing still heard it. She couldn't help but be confused. No. I just don't understand the strange relationship between you guys. Ling Qianyu shook her head and denied it. Is that so? Cheng Menjing didn't really believe it. Even if she continued to ask, Ling Qianyu might not say it. Dong dong dong. At this moment, there was a knock on the door. Cheng Menjing ran to open the door. It was Xiao Chen. Hello. I saw that the clouds outside were very thick. It might rain. We need to bring an umbrella. Xiao Chen said to Cheng Menjing. He knew nothing about what happened in the dormitory. Got it. Come in first. Wait for me. I'm going to take a shower and change into a new set of clothes. You can chat with Senior Qinyu for a while. Cheng Menjing calmed herself down and said to Xiao Chen. Oh. Xiao Chen responded. Even though she was down and out, she still didn't change her habit of changing clothes often. Cheng Menjing picked out the clothes and joked, "Don't be impatient. This is a rare opportunity for you to spend time with Campus Belle Lan. The other guys dream of coming to Senior Qianyu's dormitory. I didn't expect you to make it this time. But you're not allowed to have any improper thoughts about Senior Qianyu when I'm showering. Alright, hurry up and shower." Xiao Chen helplessly agreed. He found it a little funny. He had been to Ling Qianyu's dormitory more than once. He had even seen her whole body. There was nothing strange about it. Turning his head to look at Ling Qianyu, Xiao Chen said politely, "Senior Qianyu, Yao Yao usually doesn't take care of herself. Thank you for helping me take care of her these days. I'll treat you to a meal next time." "You're welcome. We're roommates now. It's natural for us to take care of each other," Ling Qianyu said politely. She couldn't help but secretly look at Xiao Chen. She really couldn't figure it out. No matter how she looked at it, Xiao Yi was just an ordinary guy. It was understandable that he attracted Cheng Yaoyao, who was equally ordinary. How could he make Ling Qianyu fall in love with him? She wouldn't believe it if she said there was no problem. Chapter 922. However, after staring at Xiao Yi for a long time, Ling Qianyu had a strange familiar feeling, as if she had seen him before, but she just couldn't remember. After thinking about it carefully, Ling Qianyu still couldn't remember, so she had to give up. She must be thinking too much. Xiao Yi was a loser with a common face. She could easily meet several on campus. Maybe there were similar pursuers around her. Xiao Chen didn't pay attention to Ling Qianyu's gaze. Instead, he casually looked around the dormitory, looking at the young Miss's usual living environment. After scanning around, his eyes fell on the table. There were a few open books on it. Curious, Xiao Chen went forward and flipped through them. "Huh. Senior sister, you can dance? I didn't know you were so versatile." After flipping through, Xiao Chen found that these were all international standard dance books. He couldn't help but be surprised. Xiao Chen thought about it. It was probably because he didn't have much contact with Ling Qianyu before. When he was her bodyguard, this little girl had always been on guard against him, so Xiao Chen didn't communicate much with her. He was usually only concerned about her personal safety, so it was normal that he didn't know about these things. After asking, Xiao Chen flipped through a few pages of the International Standard Dance book in his hand. Sure enough, he couldn't understand it at all. He could only, artistically, appreciate the teaching pictures inside. "I learned it when I was young, but I'm already rusty." Ling Qianyu smiled and added, "Isn't the school going to hold an art festival party in a few days? Every department has to perform a talent show, so my department assigned the task to me. I don't know anything else, so I can only make a last-minute effort and study as soon as possible. I hope I won't make a fool of myself when the time comes." "What art festival party?" Xiao Chen was stunned and asked in surprise. What was the situation with the party? No one had told him about it. "Huh? You don't know? Every autumn, Lan City University will hold an art festival party. Students from every department have to prepare a few performances. Didn't you receive the notice?" Ling Qianyu was also a little puzzled and asked with her head tilted. Xiao Chen was suddenly speechless. He could almost guess that when he was punished this morning, Professor Zhong had informed the class, but no one had told him yet. Seeing that Ling Qianyu still had a confused look on her face, Xiaochun could only let out a dry laugh and said, "That. I was basically sleeping in class and didn't pay attention. Maybe the teacher already informed me. Hee hee. Oh, all right." A drop of cold sweat appeared on Ling Qianyu's forehead. She almost rolled her eyes at Xiaochun, but she held it in. After chatting for a while, they heard the bathroom door open. Cheng Menjing had finished showering and came out. Cheng Menjing looked up and saw that Xiaochun was sitting there with a straight face. He didn't have any ill intentions towards Ling Qianyu. She couldn't help but feel relieved. After dressing up a little, Cheng Menjing greeted Xiaochun and prepared to go out. "Yao Yao, don't be in a hurry to leave." Seeing that Xiaochun and Cheng Menjing were almost at the door, Ling Qianyu mustered up her courage and shouted. She just thought that there were some things that she still had to hint to Cheng Menjing. Seeing that Xiaochun and Cheng Menjing both turned their heads, Ling Qianyu said to Xiaochun, "Xiao Yi, I'm sorry, I have some private words between girls to say to Yao Yao. Can I trouble you to wait outside for a while?" "Sure. No problem, you guys talk." Xiaochun didn't think much of it. He nodded and turned to leave the dormitory, closing the door on his way out. Although Xiaochun could release his divine sense to eavesdrop, he didn't do so. Ling Qianyu already said that it was private words between girls. It wasn't good for him to take the liberty to eavesdrop. "Senior Qianyu, what's wrong? Do you want me to bring something for you?" Cheng Menjing saw Ling Qianyu's mysterious look and thought that she was on her period and wanted to bring something for the night, so she specifically asked Xiaochun to go out first. "No." Since Ling Qianyu stopped Cheng Menjing, she no longer hesitated. She lowered her voice and said with a serious expression, "Actually, I want to tell you that I think there's something wrong with the Ling Xiaoshua's identity. When you guys come into contact with her, you must be careful so that she doesn't use you." "Huh? Senior sister, I don't quite understand what you mean." Cheng Menjing froze for a moment and felt a little surprised. She naturally knew that there was something wrong with Ling Qianyu, but Ling Qianyu didn't know Ling Qianyu, so how did she know? "There are some things that I can't say too much about. I don't know if you've vaguely heard that my grandfather works in a very mysterious special department." Ling Qianyu decided to divulge a little and said with a serious expression, "According to the information he provided, Ling Qianyu isn't from Great Xia. She came to Lancheng University because she has an unspeakable secret." "Ah. Special department?" Cheng Menjing was even more surprised. She didn't expect Ling Qianyu to have such a background. Could it be that her grandfather was from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau? Then why didn't Xiaochun mention it to her? It seemed that this guy was hiding a lot of things from her. She must find a chance to ask him about it later. "Don't be too nervous." Seeing Cheng Menjing's surprised expression, Ling Qianyu softened her tone and said, "I suspect that Ling Xiaoshua's motive for being sandwiched between you guys isn't simple." For a moment, Cheng Menjing didn't know how to answer. Ling Qianyu thought that she was suspicious and explained, "I'm not trying to sow discord. The three of you being together actually has nothing to do with me, right? However, you're my roommate after all. Now that I know about this, I should at least remind you." The reason why Ling Qianyu told her frankly was because she was thinking for Cheng Menjing's sake. She felt that Cheng Yaoyao's appearance was average while Ling Qianyu was a great beauty with many tricks up her sleeves. If Xiao Yi was infatuated with her, he would easily dump Cheng Yaoyao. At that time, it would be too late to cry. On the other hand, it was also for her own safety. Ling Qianyu also felt that she needed to give Cheng Yaoyao a warning. Even if she didn't let her and Xiao Yi stay away from Ling Qianyu, at least she had to be clear about this situation. Otherwise, with Ling Qianyu's ability, when Cheng Yaoyao was sold by her, she might even count the money for her. Plus, she and Cheng Yaoyao were in the same dorm room. Who knew when she would also get herself into trouble? I understand. I'll be careful from now on. Thank you. Cheng Menjing nodded her head and agreed. Since Ling Qianyu already knew Ling Qianyu's identity, Cheng Menjing couldn't explain too much in case it got more messy. Now it seemed that Ling Qianyu's vigilance towards Ling Qianyu was very high. Her prejudice towards Ling Qianyu was also quite deep. It was hard to change it in a short period of time. Plus, girls were more imaginative. They didn't have the meticulous logic of boys. If she didn't explain it well, Ling Qianyu would easily think the wrong way. Chapter 923. That's good. Be more careful. Seeing that Cheng Menjing had agreed, Ling Qianyu didn't say anything else. Ling Qianxue returned to the dormitory alone. She looked a little lost. She still found it hard to accept the series of events that had happened to her recently. First, she had lost her virginity to Xiao Chen without realizing it. Now, she had to turn the tables and help Xiao Chen deceive the Sakura group and young Master Xing. This made her feel even more powerless, and she was often immersed in conflicted emotions. In fact, even Ling Qianxue herself didn't know why she agreed to Xiao Chen's request in a daze. Although she knew that she did have a good impression of Xiao Chen, her views had always been more conservative. Since she was young, she was instilled with the idea that she had to serve the Sakura group wholeheartedly. After so many years, she thought that she wouldn't have the chance to fall in love again. She was already prepared to spend the rest of her life alone and even sacrifice her life for the organization. She didn't expect such an accident to suddenly happen. Why are you in a daze? I called you a few times, but you didn't reply. Did you encounter some trouble? Not long after Ling Qianxue returned to the dormitory, Xing also returned. Seeing her sitting on the chair, she wanted to ask her about the recent situation. In the end, she didn't know what Ling Qianxue was thinking. She called for a long time, but there was no response. It's nothing. Do you want to drink water? I'll go pour you a cup. Ling Qianxue came back to her senses. Seeing that Xing was staring at her, she stood up absent-mindedly. Drink what water? Xing frowned. She was very dissatisfied with Ling Qianxue's state. She asked coldly, "What's wrong with you? Is it not going well with Xiao Yi? I've told you many times to find out his true identity by all means possible. I can't stay in the secular world for too long. You'd better settle things quickly. But I've already tried my best. I seduced him according to your instructions. I even gave him my first time." Ling Qianxue felt very wronged. Thinking about this made her feel sad. A girl's most precious first time was lost unknowingly. Don't find excuses for yourself. These are all excuses. I've given you a mission, so you have to do your best to complete it. Little Miss Xing hardened her heart and reprimanded him in a tough tone. But things aren't that simple. How do you know I didn't try my best? I'm even more anxious than you are. Ling Qianxue felt wronged, but also a bit angry. Why was this young Master Xing always so high and mighty, not taking her seriously at all? Because she had to choose between Xiao Chen and the Sakura group, Ling Qianxue was already very troubled. She hadn't expected little girl Xing to keep pressing her. Finally, the pressure she had been enduring for a long time exploded out. She shouted without a care for anything else. What kind of attitude is that? You've broken through? Little girl Xing was first startled by Ling Qianxue's loud roar. She was about to get angry, but her gaze suddenly froze and she asked in astonishment. What? It was rare for Ling Qianxue to lose control of her emotions. Just now, her mind was in a rush. Now that she had calmed down, she asked subconsciously. I remember that you were barely a martial master a few days ago, right? Now, you're actually a martial master at the peak of the 10th layer, half a step into the martial general level? How did you do it? Little girl Xing was very confused. Just now, when Ling Qianxue's emotions were fluctuating, she had unintentionally released her strength. To think that she was actually half a step into the martial general level. This gap was a bit big. I'm not too sure either. Ling Qianxue finally understood young Master Xing's words and was also stunned. These few days, she had been worrying about Xiao Chen and the organization, so she didn't even notice that she had broken through. Now that she checked and found that it was as young Master Xing said, she was also very surprised. Forget it, I won't argue with you about what happened just now. Anyway, hurry up and I'll be able to report to the higher-ups. Little girl Xing looked at Ling Qianxue's stunned expression and felt that she didn't seem to be faking it, so she didn't continue asking. It seemed that this little girl had been under a lot of pressure recently, so she didn't even know that she had broken through. That Xiao Yi is usually a bit cautious. I've tested him a few times, but he didn't fall for it. I feel that I might have to think of another way to try it, Ling Qianxue explained with a bitter expression. Then you can let him let his guard down before you test him. Little girl Xing said seriously, for example, I know that when a man wants to do that, his willpower is very weak. As long as you suddenly don't give it to him, and then ask him a few questions, who knows, you might be able to get some information out of him. Next time, you can try it out according to my method. Little girl Xing seemed to speak very logically, but in reality, she had no experience in this area. Everything she knew was completely from the internet. Oh. Okay then. I'll try it another day. Ling Qianxue could only nod her head, her heart was very conflicted. Ling Qianxue knew Xiao Chen's true cultivation, so how could she not give it to him at that time? Although she had already advanced to half a step into martial general, if she really angered Xiao Chen, and the two of them fought, she wouldn't be able to gain any advantage at all. And at that time, Xiao Chen might think that she was playing around, and then he would crack her, and get his way. So young Master Xing's method was completely useless. Most importantly, she didn't need to test him. She already knew the answer, but how was she going to trick young Master Xing? After Red Hair received the money, he immediately ordered Du Rongwei to gather all the students who came to the karate dojo in the past, explain the situation, show them the portrait, and tell them to pay more attention to the school, and that was it. As for Red Hair himself, he brought the young ninja everywhere to drink, and be merry. He didn't care about finding the person at all, and often didn't even see a shadow of him for a few days. Previously, when he was running the Extreme Karate Dojo, although there was an income from the school fees, he had to be busy every day. After a day, he was extremely tired, and even if he wanted to go out and play, he didn't have the energy to go out and play. Red Hair had been holding back for a long time. Now that he had such a large sum of money, and didn't need to rely on protection fees to survive, Red Hair simply threw his career to the back of his head, and enjoyed his extravagant days to the fullest. However, he didn't forget to trick the two rich people, and in advance, he arranged for delicious food and drinks, as well as a group of high-quality prostitutes to properly serve the two rich people. Although the two cultivators of the Jia family had high cultivation, they didn't understand the affairs of the mortal world and the ways of the world at all. In the beginning, they specially kept an eye on Red Hair for a few days. Seeing that he indeed left early and returned late, and sometimes didn't even return, they thought that Red Hair was working very hard to help them find the person, and couldn't help but be very happy. You're tuning in to the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.